We did it.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
Wow.
Brain yards.
Jump scare yourself.
What was that? Holy shit. Thought I was doing a solo show tonight. There you go. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday. It's a night somewhere, and we have tights.
We're tight.
We're tight.
Yeah.
We're tight.
Damn.
Well, declarative statement right there. It's not a little too soon.
It's
Yeah,
less
yeah.
of a night for me because you guys have faked your clocks again, and so now this is like an hour earlier than it's supposed to be. And I think the world should just pick a time and stick to it rather than keep fucking me over like this.
samesies.
Right. I
We're making it
agree.
easier for the farmers.
Is that the excuse?
Allegedly.
Like the farmers can't just get up earlier.
Yeah, couldn't they adjust their
Like, no,
schedule?
I get up at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. rather.
They get
You
up
know,
at
that's what
4
I
in the
wish
morning
I
anyway.
Farmers, but come on.
I always thought that too, and then I found an article that was talking about how originally daylight savings time was instituted during wartime, like in like the 40s or whatever, to like conserve, or maybe even earlier, maybe the first one, like to conserve energy, so people weren't having to run things. You didn't need like lights and electricity on during like the day as much, right? Because you got the light, so they changed the clocks in order to have that. So you have one less hour of electricity being used by people because we were so concerned with conserving energy and shit at that point to dedicate to the effort. So I don't know what's true. I know when I worked at a golf course, we loved daylight savings time because that was an extra hour that people could come by after work. You keep playing until 9 o'clock, all that stuff. We loved that.
Well, I think we should just lock the clock here. Like, just lock it.
Stop it.
Just stop.
I'd be fine with it.
Chrissy.
What does the
so
dog think?
cute.
It's
The
Waffles.
dogs have no concept of time.
This
Oh my God.
waffles can
Waffles-
replace rags.
Waffles.
I ate 'em.
So Muffin got into. I maybe had some Nutella cookies in the diaper bag, and one of the dogs.
Are you sure
ate
those
them.
were Nutella
I
cookies?
was gonna say,
they smelled like. So actually, Muffin ate 3 of the Nutella cookies, but we couldn't tell which dog ate them, so we had to take them both to the vet. The vet made them both throw up, and we found out Waffles didn't eat any of the cookies because we didn't see any cookies
So
in her
who
puke.
did?
And so she was so pissed. She's like, "You're making me! Ugh, I didn't eat any." You know, Muffin ate them. The other dog ate them.
Blame
Oh
Muffin.
no.
Muffin.
But
Blame
she didn't
Muffin.
die. She threw them all up.
Waffles is really
Good
cute.
story. Thanks.
Yeah.
we got muffin, waffles,
Go
and Nutella.
Muffin.
Like everything is just food in the
Yes.
entire house.
That's what I
Remember
name
that?
my dogs too.
Remember to
Okay.
put your cookies away.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rico.
Frank's real name is Corn Dog. So, yeah, she names everything out of food.
Corn pop.
X-Ray, did you say you ate rags?
Yeah, that's why he's not here as a guest anymore.
Holy crap.
Oh, well.
All right.
Letting you know.
Circle of life,
We're gonna
everybody.
have to make
Sorry.
her throw up later.
Give us
Very
rag
method
back.
of you. Very method.
Looks like there's a new opening at EFAP, everybody. So send your applications to Mahler. Send your applications to Mahler. Yeah, we got a fun show today. There's a little bit of, more cope. Like the fact that we're still talking about this is kind of crazy. But the failure that is Captain African American, Captain Black Falcon American, whatever you want to call him, Captain Commie American. Captain Not American, Captain Un-American, Captain Anti-American, Captain Death to America. You can call him whatever you want, but he's not Captain America.
It's especially, I think it's very relevant to talk about it because Anthony Mackie was just in a movie that some of us watched. So there you go.
Was he? Was
Electric
he in that?
State.
Oh, was he a
Who does he
voice?
play?
He's the voice of Herm.
Oh,
You fucking
wait.
racist just ignored him.
Listen, I
I
gotta
know
admit,
here.
Herm didn't sound black. He sounded like from the East Coast. But
He
you're
actually
talking
did
about,
kind of sound like
so-
one of those.
What does it mean to
Hey,
sound
see
black?
that.
and I think it was we
You
had
Ebonics.
Herm definitely coded male, and I love when Chris Pratt's character expressed his true love for him more than a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
That was funny.
I wonder if.
But it's
like,
a
the
robot. That's
energy
what I got a problem
surrounding-
with.
I wonder if the energy surrounding Herm and the way he speaks. I wonder what John Campion's take will be on it. If it's the same as he had for Transformers 2. That's the real question.
Am I the only one here who knows what John Campion thought about Transformers 2? Come on.
No, don't think about him at
Cannot
all.
be spoken on YouTube's.
It can't? I think we
Well,
should
he
find
did.
the
The
clip.
word hood's involved.
I think we
Video's
should.
still up on YouTube.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
His
well,
video's up still?
yeah,
Wow.
we'll play it a little later. What
Okay.
the hell? When we talk
Maybe,
about
in the
electric
first 10
state
minutes.
Yeah,
First 10 minutes, maybe not.
first 10 minutes we won't. But before we get to our wonderful guest here, I gotta read a sponsor. Oh, why does Logan? Okay, I almost hit. Jesus Christ.
You almost hit Jesus?
Oh, don't do that.
That
Sorry.
That was my read.
Terry.
That was bad.
This is
Yeah.
how all good sponsor reads begin. What the
They
fuck?
do.
Jesus Christ. What the...
Well, see, when I hit
Can't
the
read
link,
this shit.
it goes up to the window that's broadcasting through OBS, guys. So maybe
Oh.
open another link for me. There you go.
Do, do,
I have the best
do,
diversity
do,
hires. I really do.
do.
It's our fault for sure.
Hang on, it's opening a link. How hard can this be?
You guys didn't see it. Well, everybody got to see our read, which is great because you could have probably read it for me in the audience and it would have been better.
Read it yourselves.
Free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down. We've always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular, and now we're taking that fight to the next level. By the way, we are dual streaming on Rumble, so some people on Rumble are hearing this. When major advertisers conspire to pull their dollars, even brands like Dunkin' Donuts turn their backs, claiming Rumble had a right-wing culture. But we're not here to fit the mold. We're here to defend free expression. To strengthen this mission, we're excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand, Dr. Disrespect, Timcast, and the Mug Club with Crowder, who just quit YouTube today.
Ooh.
Just quit YouTube today. It's more than a subscription. I mean, again. It's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using promo code Nerdrotic. First, visit rumble.com/premium/Nerdrotic and claim your discount today. Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble or simply just keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive. Thank you. It's pretty good. Maybe thank you. Thank you. You know what? Thanks, chat. Yeah. Screw these guys.
Practice right
You
I
read
gave
every
you a thumbs
word.
up. After the fucking 11th time you read it, you managed to almost get through the entire thing without stumbling. So
Progress,
Way to
not
go,
perfection.
Joe.
thumbs up.
There was a little stumble in there, for sure. Thank you for pointing that out, Ryan. I really appreciate your candor. I do.
You asked for feedback when you started doing the
Not from you.
Oh. You did great, Gary. You did a great job. You answered all the questions, just like
You
Joe
read
Biden.
English mostly.
It's my second language. Hello, little platoon. Welcome back to the show. Hello. Bring the IQ up a little bit here.
I know he
Appreciate it.
passes up the joint.
He's very smart.
And
I
it's
keep saying this is just the accent. All you have to do is sound like this. You can have an IQ of 50 and it doesn't make a difference. People just assume it's 150. It's
there you
great.
go.
I can say whatever I like and people say that's so smart. And actually, it's just fucking like flat earth nonsense.
Really?
Can you
'Cause,
tell
like,
us the world is flat?
So you're British.
I 100% believe that shit. Like honestly, but only this specific accent, right? When it's like
not
when
like
it
a
sounds
Londoner
the poor
accent,
people
no.
Yeah,
of
as his
Britain-
accent sucks.
Yeah, when it sounds like the poor people of Britain, and I don't mean Allahu Akbar. I mean like you know what I'm talking about, like poor British.
The other poor
the
people. of
Cockney.
Yeah.
See,
you need to clarify. Like Liverpool, Birmingham, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the Australian accent is just like that anyway. Whenever you hear it, it's like automatic 10 IQ points lower.
It's dirtier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think of
It's like a
what,
southern accent.
in the Kingsman when he goes in the pub with all those guys. The way all of them speak, that's the way I feel like. Just like when I think of poor British people speak.
But
That's what
well,
it's like.
it is. That's the kind of the chat. They were taking the piss out of the chavs in that entire
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
The
the
chavs.
chavs.
Chavs?
Yeah.
Chavs?
It was
Jazz. Council houses and
tracksuit-loving
violence, wasn't it? Like that's what it stands for. So it's just
The projects?
The projects, yes. Council houses are the projects. Rose lived in one in Doctor Who for season one.
Yeah, she was a
block.
chav.
They call it
Okay.
the block.
Yeah, so
Something like
wonderful.
that. From Attack the
We
Block.
don't call it the block. No,
it's-
that was a weird thing because we don't have blocks over here because we
Interesting.
don't have grid cities.
They were trying to appeal to the projects over here at the block.
Well, the council houses can
Jenny
be,
from the block.
especially now, they're probably pretty bad. I was going to say they probably weren't as bad as ours, our hood, like Hunter's Point. Holy shit. San Francisco. It's not a good place. But
New Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans.
But your
Ninth-
people,
ninth ward.
your blocks sound cool, and they have names that suggest that they're really dangerous. Like the nearest gang to where I
Martin
live
Luther King
names
Jr.
itself after the postcode or the zip code of the area in which it lives. So they are like the MK43 Massive or something like that. And it's just like it's so very cringe. And because we don't have that many guns, they kind of have to go at each other with spoons and long knives that they bought off Amazon. So it's not quite as threatening, but they're still not great.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of even that's kind of copied off America, where their streets are like 13th Street and everything. Whereas over here, you couldn't have like Big Piddle Avenue Lane gang. Like it wouldn't work. The road names would be awful.
What are you doing
over there?
I used to think
Big
MS-13 was a middle school. It's not.
no.
Okay.
That does make sense. That's how all of the places in New York, right? It's like
Mhm.
PS 173, public school
Yep.
173, like, shit like that. Yeah.
We
don't have those
plastic
other
names
areas
like
of
the 5
the
Points
country,
gang
though.
in New York.
It
Do you
sounds
have gangs in Australia, or is it just animals?
Mostly biker gangs.
Gangs of animals.
There's definitely the animals.
PvE over there.
Roman emu gangs.
Kangaroos. Yeah.
But no, we've got biker gangs and things like that, and you know, there's some violence that happens now and then. They get their hands on guns. I don't know how they do that.
I've heard the Aborigines
criminals.
are too lazy to form gangs. They just lay around.
That's what an Australian told me.
I mean,
Just
There-
playing the
Ryan-
didgeridoos, right?
there are things that I could say about the Northern Territory, but I'm not going to say.
Whoa.
I've seen public service announcements for the Aborigines to tell them to make sure when you just randomly decide to fall asleep and take a nap anywhere because you got nothing else going on in your life, don't nap in the road, right? Don't sleep in the road because you might get run over. Like that's a public service announcement
That
ad
makes
that I've seen
sense.
for Australia.
We have
Also,
some of
one about
those-
not sniffing petrol from a can.
Well,
That's difficult.
Americans
Some of those
can't
on, like, the
really.
London Underground has some fantastic announcements. The one I heard the other day when I was in London was, if you're taking your pushchair on the escalator, remember to hold on to it. So, like, you don't just let the baby fall down the
You know,
stairs.
I
That's
never
a good
thought
tip.
of that. Thanks for letting me
Man.
know.
There is a great video of someone taking suitcases on an escalator, and they put it on and it just goes off on its own, and then it slides all the way down
Yep.
the escalator on the stairs and knocks the person out to the bottom, who's like running as if it's Indiana Jones.
That's when you jump.
I
That's
want
a
to see
fatal
that video
mistake.
now. Because whenever you see those things in movies, you always think, just run sideways. We have a real life example. I don't want to see if he does that.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's an escalator. There's no sideways to go.
Oh, okay. I
Just-
thought it was just on the escalator.
Well, you want to laugh at the fact that you have to have a PA announcement to hang on to your baby carriage, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
people who don't. So,
Yeah.
like, as frustrated as I can get with the nanny state, Jesus, hold on to your baby and your luggage, maybe? I don't know.
Very
What-
nanny state thing to say.
it is.
All right. What did you want to start out with, Gary?
What do I want to
A lot
start
of
out
talking.
with?
Can we quickly
Uh,
rant about the Wheel of Time? It's not.
You,
gonna
you know what?
take long,
Yeah.
but I'm
While
pissed
people
about
are
it.
rolling in and nobody gives
Yeah.
nobody gives a shit about this show. Let's talk about it now as people are still coming down the aisle and taking their pisses and getting their popcorn, because that's what I imagine you're all doing. You're all naked. You're all in the shower listening to us and sitting on the toilet, aren't you? You are.
Just look.
You're dropping a deuce and listening to us right
wash.
now. One of you out there is doing it. We know it.
Drop where you are in the
No.
chat.
Identify
Which is
yourself.
on
No.
You know, something that happened that barely anyone gives a crap about. Wheel of Time season 3 is out, and I can't bring myself to watch it because the show is just dead to me. But my wife has watched it. People have reported to me what it's seen, and it is like absolute trash. Par for the course for this show, where the main character is sidelined. It's all about the female characters. They've turned more characters gay. They've bastardized the material to just shoehorn this bullcrap in. And no one watches the show anymore because it's made for either, if you have to be gay, sorry, Little Platoon, or
Why
or
are you
why
sorry?
Mum
It
didn't
sound
want
He's
to
not
be a
sorry.
Because if I was Little Platoon and this was made for me, I would be insulted. That's my point.
That
Jazz,
is the
like,
insult. It's
little-
the association with Wheel of Time is the most insulting thing I've ever had.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, Little Platoon, I'm really sorry that you're gay, and this is for you.
Fucking white savior Shad over there.
I'm just thinking of because I would be insulted by this, but I get the.
If I were one of the gays, I would be very hurt.
Listen, yeah, every time I watch a movie about retards, I'm insulted, so don't feel bad. I'm insulted. No, so the mystery of this, okay, it's probably just a glitch in my system. Or you know what? Maybe I have a confession to make, but I was watching Reacher, really enjoyed the last episode, thought it was fun. Just dude killing people. It's kind of like it. Could use a little more TNA, but that's me. A little less Reacher but
we've had 2 Reacher ass shots, only 1 Duffy side boob and very slight side nipple.
so just to let you know,
Even that
I am
out.
keeping score, and we are owed full boob and ass shot, at least 2 more before I'm satisfied with the show. But that aside,
How do
Show-
you determine that ratio?
how do I determine it? If I have to look at Reacher's ass, I better get a chick ass.
Oh, okay. It's a
Oh,
balance.
okay.
Okay.
Equality.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking for equality, not equity, not outcome of equity, just equality. Now,
Now, the first shot that we get, the one that's kind of like done pretty humorously, like in the first couple episodes, like after he swims and like walks up there. That one's like the second one. They had a second one in there that wasn't necessary.
bro, when he's wearing the scuba suit, I had to fucking look away from that scene. I'm like,
But they
doing
make a
the
joke about how
windmill.
tight it is.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so the show ends, the credits start up, and I quit. And Ryan had mentioned, like, and Prime's doing this now. A show ends, it goes right into another one. So of course it's gonna head right into Wheel of Time. I stopped it, turned my system off, walked away, came back a couple hours later to watch some Clarkson's Farm. And what fires up when I hit Prime? It shows that I had watched 3 episodes of Wheel of Time season 3. And my kids didn't watch it. My wife didn't watch it. So I don't know how the fuck that happened.
That's a
It's just
violation.
like a ghost with the worst taste in the world.
Right?
You should report that to the
The
police.
ghost in the machine.
I did.
Well, now we know when Amazon announces that this is the biggest premiere launched in the second week of March of 2025, called Wheel of Time, you will be responsible for giving it the views.
I am.
Yeah. Well, everybody else is like getting swatted and shit like that. The biggest crime against Gary is his crime account registered that he watched Wheel of Time. Like,
It's
I will
almost
never
as bad as
recover.
when U2 put their album on everyone's iTunes and everyone was
It's
like,
almost
"What the
that
hell is
bad.
this?"
But like this
Dude, that
was
was
for
pretty
me.
devastating.
So it's I took it personally.
It is. I would take it personally. That's
Yeah,
worse
I
than
took
the
it
Message
personally.
recommendation algorithm.
I'm really sorry about all the people who got swatted, but man, think about me just for a second.
Wheel of Time, though. Wheel of Time.
It's definitely worse than the Twilight doll.
Yeah, definitely. This is how Amazon is trying to artificially pump their numbers. They've wasted so much money on this show, and it's I think it's a vanity project, not as much as Rings of Power, but they're not making money off of this thing, and they're just continually to push it out. It's
No.
Well, they're faking numbers that they don't release. It's the height of pointlessness. It's only for their bosses you'd even bother doing that.
it's kind of crazy because we were talking about this, me and Gary, where I constantly get bombarded with the Wheel of Time stuff when it releases. Rings of Power will be one of the next up, right? When you get done with something, it'll try to force feed like Rings of Power. And I get that, right? To try to get people to try this new show, whatever. Whereas, like, when we're watching Reacher, it's, like, impossible for me to find the show if I want to watch the next episode. I either have to go to my continue watching or I have to actually search it up because it's not sitting up there scrolling like everything else. And one of the reasons probably is they didn't invest as much money behind it. However, it continues to be like their best performing thing on there.
And one of the executives said, we don't want all our shows to be a bunch of white guys with guns, but those are the shows that perform the best on Prime and on Paramount Plus. Even the soap opera Taylor Sheridan stuff is white dudes with guns. So like
those pull numbers, man. Paramount Plus is a relatively small streaming service
and it
compared
crushes.
to a lot of the rest of these, compared to the Disney Plus, the Netflix, the Prime Videos, and they have a very disproportionate cut of the big hits of the year. When you look at those end of year wraps, how many Taylor Sheridan Paramount projects did really, really well?
Dude is a money printing machine. He bought his own ranch that he now rents to himself to film on. Like that's kind of a Chad move. I respect that.
Despite making only 12% of the content, Taylor Sheridan accounts for 50% of the watch time on Paramount Plus.
Holy shit! Speaking of that, speaking of Reacher and watch time, we did get an interesting article that we talked about. Reacher season 3 becomes Prime's Video's most watched returning season ever.
Whoa.
Ever, with 54.6 million views after 19 days. I don't know if that's just over 19 days, but that's pretty much Amazon telling on itself. So it's more this thing, which costs the fraction of Wheel of Time, of Rings of Power, is the most watched returning season. So apparently we have more evidence of the Rings of Power season 2 being an absolute flop and a vanity project that nobody's watching, nobody cares about. And it's just going to exist because Amazon literally has money to burn. We'll see after season 3, because like if you're out on, if Shad and Disparu are even out on reviewing it and shitting on it, that's not good, because that was the last of your audience. That was pretty much it. You're done. You're done.
And it's like, just think about, they just greenlit season 3. Obviously, they said they've been working on scripts, going to be a time jump, whatever. It means it's probably going to be another 2 years before we see it.
Yep, easy.
So that's going to be like 6 years between when the first season released and when this one comes out. I didn't know how many people are going to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this simple show, Reacher, that's literally just like basic fucking storytelling that is, hey, good guys versus bad guys. Good guys kill bad guys. You know, save people. That's what it is, right? There's nothing super deep or like meaningful about it, really. It's just basic good guy, bad guy storytelling, and that's the thing that is the best performer for them right now. Outside of the first season of Fallout, which was watched by a lot of people, that's the most watched thing they've had in the last couple of years.
For a while, they were rotating Wheel of Time and Rings of Power at the same time each year. So it's already strange that Wheel of Time is out now rather than at the end of the year to buy time for Rings of Power to come out. So it seems like they've lost their confidence in those being the tentpole kind of end of the year mega fantasy series. And you do have to question if Jennifer Salke wanted those kind of series and Reacher is just going completely against her direction. Amazon just announced they're releasing, 13 or 14 movies a year now in cinemas. And so the last thing she wants is information going against the direction she wants to take the company. Because you'll be able to see the ones she chooses fail, and the ones that she doesn't really like, she wants to do less of, are all the winners. That's not going to be healthy for your career path.
It's not going to be healthy for your corporation either, or for your subsidiary, basically your facet of your mail order company, which is tiny, by the way.
We already saw how when an Amazon CEO turns their Eye of Sauron to it, suddenly a load of things got cancelled that she renewed. So Amazon may be just too big to pay attention to.
That's Hollywood, but eventually people pay attention, right? So what happens when these companies get, especially these CEOs, vie for power and get there? It's about protecting their job and not actually doing it. So, and that's what stops a lot of good stuff from happening in Hollywood. Lucasfilm is a great example of somebody protecting their job and not doing it. And Jennifer Salke is the Kathleen Kennedy of Amazon Prime, other than she's actually had a couple of successes under her belt that she did. Like, she's the one who, she brought Reacher in and Terminal List, but all the other stuff before that stuff that she's fucked up, was brought in by other people. And she just kind of took it. She's got a marketing background. She's not really like somebody who knows a lot about creativity. She's an administrator and basically HR. So that's why when she turns her eye to something, it will probably suck. If she puts her paws on it like she did Wheel of Time and Rings of Power, it will probably suck. She doesn't pay attention to Reacher until she does, and we'll see what happens. But
I just like how all the quotes about her that you find are just, she massively overpaid for this. Like every time. It's like, she just bought it off the table. We didn't expect her to.
No, that was
What
a
would
great.
happen if she did turn her attention to Reach, though? I mean, is it like this show would be improved with some gay elves? So let's stick them in the Reach show as well.
You know, if Reacher shoots him and kills him, I don't know, but no, I don't think she would. This is small potatoes because it just doesn't have the budget. There is something to being in control of this big budget thing. It probably makes you feel really powerful within the circles of Hollywood, and that I don't have an explanation why people like that still keep their jobs, because there was a time in Hollywood merit did matter, and if you failed miserably, your ass was fired and you never worked again. And there's still anecdotal stuff, like Jar Jar Abrams hasn't directed a movie since The Rise of Skywalker.
He's in jail. He's in director's jail for sure.
Poor Michael Bay can't get work, and I would argue like Michael Bay's a better director than most of them now, and like somebody should take a flyer on the guy.
Yeah.
It's
interesting. It's like when did Hollywood go from a director's Hollywood experience to all producers? Because that's what it seems like. It seems like if you're a director, you can be thrown in, even if you're somebody like that, that's huge, you can be thrown away. But if you're a producer, you could fail every single release in 5 years and you're still fine.
I mean,
because they have all the power.
Yeah, I can only speculate, and we've talked about this a bit before, where it really seems like a lot of the pencil pushers and management have wanted to control the properties more, and the directors that seem to get, you know, the next jobs are the ones that don't necessarily do a good job, but are the yes men that just do what they're told. And it's like, oh, I like you, you'll do what I'm told, so then they get the next project. It really feels like Disney and Marvel have been like that for ages, where all the directors that tried to give some pushback, this is my vision, oh, they left for creative differences. And so that's kind of what I expected. It's all.
It's not just that, though, because the Russo brothers have been given what they released 3... I forget what the series is called. Citadel for Amazon. They did 3 series, £300 million each. Then they went over to Netflix, £320 million. Then they've been given Marvel, which is probably going to be another $300 million. And all of them flopped. Did massively, very bad critic reviews, and no one saw them, and they just keep getting the next job and the next job.
Well, I liked Citadel. I didn't get watched by enough people to justify its budget. I enjoyed. That's Richard Madden, right?
Yeah, Richard Madden was in it. Rob Stark.
I liked it. It was a little bit of a kind of a slow burner. I did enjoy it, but yeah, you can't. Almost nothing at that budget that you released on streaming can be justified.
No, Citadel should not have cost that much money.
Didn't the Russos actually themselves say? I saw in a bit of an interview earlier today, some article that they were talking about the Electric State and how much money it costs, and they basically said, yeah, it makes no economic sense at all. There's a lot of. I think they said that the ambition is supposed to sell seats and sell bums on subscription services and all the mixed metaphors you like. And that's the idea behind spending so much money, but they'll never make it back. And they were kind of admirably honest about it from people who've just been given this massive budget to produce another shitty Netflix movie. So I think even they sort of know that the streaming world doesn't really know what it's about when it comes to making movies at the moment. They have these tentpole projects, and they have a very vague business case for making them. And it's mostly reputational, not financial, and it's certainly not artistic. And even the people who work for them acknowledge now this is quite openly the case. That they've given budgets, said make thing, and if they ever ask, will it make money? The answer is probably probably not.
That's what Citadel was. It was meant to launch a global franchise that would become so massive it paid itself back in the long term across the entire world. And you just can't magic that into existence. You would release something that's small that did so well that then you grew it into that, but you can't suddenly release international series all over the world with absolutely no proof of concept.
It's the inverse of how all these things have typically been done for decades and decades of television, right? You have a bunch of pilots that get pitched to a network. They look at all of them. They think, okay, what would give us the best chance? Of these 20 pilots, we're going to greenlight 4 of them. 4 of them, we're going to launch 2 in the fall season, 2 in the spring, and then you might pick up one of those shows for the second season, and then you might put a little more money into it after you've seen that there's people that are interested and there is that proof of concept. They're doing it inversely now, and it's obviously not working. It's just wild because the Russo brothers, I don't think they directed it, but they were a big part of Extraction with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, they produced it
on Netflix, and that had a relatively small budget. That was like $60-70 million or something for Extraction, which I thought was good. I thought it was really solid. I liked it.
Good action
Wasn't as
flick.
big of a fan as the sequel. They probably upped the budget for the sequel as well with that helicopter fight and everything. But yeah, it's crazy. $320 million for a streaming, a streaming movie on Netflix that you don't release in theaters, that you don't get any recoup from it in that way. And I don't know.
Yeah, Joe Russo was a writer on that one.
Wouldn't it make more sense for Netflix to spend money?
Yeah, they produced it as well. Like they did but Joe Russo was the screenplay writer. The story was the Russos and this other guy, and then they were also a part of the producing team too.
Wouldn't it make more sense to spend all this money and make movies and put them out into theaters and then release them on Netflix? Because Netflix, that's their blood. Their blood is movies that were in theaters that everybody knows and everybody watched, and then they're on their streaming service. So I don't understand the play to get more people to show up on your streaming service by spending $320 million when we know they don't really do all that much. So what is like the real incentive? What is it for them other than just getting more subs? Because there's no way that they're pulling in enough subs to justify that. What is it that they are getting out of it?
They don't look at, I don't think they look at things individually. I think they just look at it as a whole over a quarter, over a month, and they just throw stuff out there. And they've got money to burn right now. They make a ton of money now, like 300. The release window thing is something Hollywood has a huge problem with, and they're complaining about. And I think they're going to bend the knee with Narnia, but we don't know how long the window is going to be. But Netflix is both pissing off Hollywood, but Hollywood needs it. They just don't like how much they are changing it, and they are in control. It makes no sense, and ultimately, that philosophy will not be sustainable throughout time. There will be a time where Netflix once again hits a lull or maturity, and they'll have to reassess things and maybe make stuff cheaper. But right now, they don't have to. And we could talk about the electric state.
Or they're playing the long game and hoping that as these companies are putting these, their own streaming services out there and they're really not doing very well and not succeeding, that eventually they'll start to try to cut cost and just sell the product back to Netflix, and then they'll continue to get
I think there's economic warfare that goes on in there. And then there's also like talent acquisition and reputation management as well, because there were people, I think, in the earlier days of streaming in traditional Hollywood who would sort of turn their nose up at doing a movie for a streaming service. And now with the budgets that are involved, as soon as you can say, let's say on Netflix, and you say, well, look, we've just spent $300+ million, and we got the Russos who did the biggest Avengers movies to do a film for us. Like clearly that Iron Curtain has come down now. So anybody else who's looking to get massive projects funded with unlimited amounts of money, massive creative freedom, all the things that you thought you would get from Hollywood, but you're not getting it anymore, come to us. Don't go to like Paramount. Don't go to Amazon. Netflix is the place to be, because look, all your friends are working for us now as well.
And on top of that, like when we ask, why would Netflix spend $40 million on marketing fucking the Beast, Carla Sofia Gascon, right? And this Emilia Perez movie. Like, why would they? Well, the reason is, even though we don't care about, like, we don't put any value on, because this person won an Oscar, that means this. A lot of other people do, right? In the industry, the actors, they care about that. So if they show you that, hey, we can actually get something that gets recognized like this, that can get you awards, all this shit, that also makes those very same people more likely, if they're hesitant anyway, to jump and do a streaming thing. And personally, I think that Netflix, look, they are the king. They are still the king. They're going to remain the king for a long time. And they are that way because they are willing to make changes when they know they need to. For instance, the idea of doing these Narnia premieres on IMAX, of doing some limited theatrical releases for these movies. The idea that as more streaming services started doing weekly release or bunch release, they are also doing that with some of their big projects. Not weekly, but they've started chunking them out and parsing them out because they understand that is the best for business. So it might seem a little slow for them to adjust, but they are adjusting.
Yeah, they got it. You have to adjust for churn. The churn.
Another metric that Netflix might be using to determine if a project is successful or not is not necessarily if it brings in as many subscribers to offset the cost. It could be that if it just maintains their current subscriber base, because if they're making so much profit, right, they want to ensure that that's going to continue. And so by making the new projects, if they just see, all right, that's stayed off of certain amount of unsubscription stuff like that, that's a win. Let's keep making the content to maintain the profit margin. That might be the way that's
how they're winning. They're just spamming you, right? And once in a while we get something good, and I think that little hook is good enough. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who watch Electric State and go, it's fine, it's good for a streaming movie. I had it on in the background while I was vacuuming or masturbating vigorously. I don't know.
That's almost my view on it, except for the masturbating vigorously. I did that before I watched the movie. But
did it show up on your watch as working out?
It did. It did.
You broke an Olympic record for sprinting.
It was so difficult to take. Like, I didn't mind the movie. I don't have no desire to ever watch it again. It doesn't offend me in any way. It's just kind of slop, I guess. It was so hard to take seriously, I guess, because of the characters that were involved in all that stuff. So I didn't really take it very seriously.
Really? Because I tried to take it seriously and I couldn't. And now I'm offended by the stupidity because I tried to understand this world and it is retarded beyond belief. When
was the point where you decided I should stop trying to take this seriously? Was it 10 minutes in where Mr. Peanut was the fucking leader of the robot resistance?
Yes, because I wanted a good sci-fi.
And he signed a peace accord with President Clinton.
Because
who put him in internment camps. Okay.
I want my sci-fi to make sense.
Walk the Trail of Tears.
So much of this plot is reliant on the world building. The whole central premise is actually based on a technological need, right? And it's retarded. It's absolute nonsense. None of it makes sense. And therefore, I couldn't get invested in anything. And so the movie was mostly boring, like really boring. And then the stupidity of the plot and world building made me hate it.
It was. I'm much more in that camp than in the ambivalent one. I mean, it was such a frustrating watch. About 20 minutes through, when it felt like it had already been going for an hour, and the dialogue had been ruining absolutely everything, and the characters were insufferable. And I knew it had been written by people who'd done Marvel stuff because it sounded exactly like
Guardians
it.
of the Galaxy.
I thought, you know what? I want to see if there's a there. So I went and I was sort of scanning through the graphic novel that it came from as the film was going on. And it's false advertising. This isn't an adaptation of that.
No, it isn't. Not at all.
It's quite high concept. It's very minimalist. It's very abstract. It's very macabre. It's a dystopia. It's a proper attempt at being a serious high concept science fiction piece, and it takes itself seriously, and it's very sparse and abstract, but it's quite compelling even just from skimming through it. And none of these insufferable characters were in it, and none of the stupid dialogue was in it, and none of the dumb fuck robot stuff was in it. All of the crap that made the film bad was stuff that they'd invented and chucked into it, which doesn't fill you with any kind of confidence when this is what they do. People who make the good Avengers movies, when they're told to create something that they don't already have a script for that someone else has done for them, this is apparently what they do. That doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence for anything that they do going forward.
What this movie, and you're right, the graphic novel is great. Go get it. It's really good. And it's supposed to be, I guess, the closest movie I can think of off the top of my head. It's supposed to be in the tone of AI. That's what it's supposed to be in the tone of. It's not supposed to be this wacky, funny thing with, it's the acting in it is so horrible. Millie Bobby Brown is so bad. And Chris Pratt is bad at doing a Star-Lord impression. He's terrible.
You see his costume's totally Han Solo.
Giancarlo Esposito's in this, and it's motherfuckers, dude. Like, he's Pedro Pascal now. I love the guy, but Jesus Christ,
I'm
dude.
getting sick of him. I'm seeing him in everything, and he's always playing a badass. It's like, no, play an accountant. That's the role that you're supposed to play.
He was kind of an accountant a little bit.
That was actually the only thing that really bothered me about the movie was that the cast had to cost a lot, right?
It did.
Got Stanley Tucci to play the bad guy.
Budget.
And you get Giancarlo Esposito, and his entire role is from like this really bad fucking computer view that you
at
see
one
him
desk,
and you get like 30 seconds of him standing in an AI world talking to AI Stanley Tucci, and like one shot of him sitting at his desk at home. That's all. I wonder how much he got paid to show up and do
Dude,
that.
it feels like he was added in like Captain Marvel later. It's like, we need something else. It's like they did it to him again.
Or like he was in, Captain America.
That entire scene was so weird, though, because they buried a mountain on him, and then he talks to him, he's like, well, what if I could get your robot back? So I thought they were going to send in diggers or something. No, he just wakes up underneath the mountain, and you see his hand break through. It's like, what, you couldn't have done that on your own? Did you software patch him strength? Download more RAM or something? It was bizarre.
Now, see, you guys are using your brain too much, okay?
Oh,
It felt like an annoying kid's
Put it
movie
on
with
5.
insufferable
It's supposed to be
was.
retarded.
What's stupid is like, why would you
it felt
take
like a
something-
movie made for kids? That's what it felt like to me.
Yes, yeah. It felt like a kid movie. It felt like a kid
And
movie.
it wasn't supposed to be. Platoon is right. That is like absolutely nothing like the graphic novel at all. And it could have, you know what? Making stuff for kids is not a fucking excuse. Can we just dial that one back? I watched a bunch of shit that was not made for kids that I loved. And it's
like
fine.
this was like egregious,
kids
though.
that you
And
love.
also, there is stuff that is made for kids that is really clever and well done. The first How to Train Your Dragon film, kids film, but actually has some really like top tier characterization in that film. That
Even
is just-
Shrek had really good
Yeah.
stuff.
Shrek. Like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish always comes up in these conversations. Like most of the old Disney animated
Absolutely,
stuff also qualifies. The Iron Giant qualifies. Lots of like the really serious stuff that everyone remembers, and they had the biggest impact on them growing up as stories is kids' entertainment. But that's not an excuse for it being incredibly shit. Whereas this movie comes along as the graphic novel, you see all of the development of the world through the window of a car journey, basically. And like you're supposed to sort of infer without ever really being told that this is a story about how you are atomized as a result of technology. Lots of people become so addicted to this VR world that they just lose their own real bodies and their own lives and all the rest of that shit. And this movie is like what I imagine they were watching through those VR headsets that made them just mong out completely until they died of exhaustion. It's just the shallowest kind of absolute empty filler content that's designed to have you sitting there staring vacantly at a screen until it's time to go to bed or take a shit, and then you forget what you've done for the last 2 hours of your life. The movie is a perfect parody of the message that the graphic novel was supposed to be telling. Well, yes, and especially if the alternative is watching this film, I would rather spend 2 hours on the toilet. Produce a better script as much as anything.
No, the VR headsets, I mean, people died watching them. There's pictures of corpses like that you see in the graphic novel. So they just kept them on until they died.
Moment of that where you
get
see
one
like,
moment,
like I don't know if he was supposed to be actually dead or not, or if he was just homeless or whatever, that the fucking robot comes and covers up. I personally think I thought it had a deep message. I thought that the little boy who wanted to die represented the audience.
Just pull the plug, man.
That was the issue. If you want to send heroes into a dangerous situation where they constantly keep telling you we're all about to die, you can't make them annoying and insufferable because you're just hoping it happens at all times. And so the girl, I forget the actress's name. There is not one moment throughout the entire thing where she's nice to anybody. She's always the smart ass. She always having to go at everyone else. Then you've got the other guy making jibes back at her, which it worked for Star-Lord, but it doesn't work in this.
There's no chemistry between Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown, like at all. Like
and the
zero.
lines aren't funny, which is a big thing. You can pay attention to Star-Lord, and there's actually humor in it that works structurally, whereas this is just, the dialogue is kind of in place of where actual dialogue should be, and they just forgot to get rid of the filler placeholder stuff and actually insert the lines they wanted the characters to speak. And you couple that with the fact that they always look like they've delivered every single line in one take, and someone's just said, yeah, fuck it, that'll do. And then they just move on. So you're not even supposed to pay attention when anyone's speaking. As soon as someone opens their mouth, your brain goes, oh, okay, I can switch off for the next 10 minutes until something else happens.
Yeah, far be it from me to tell the Russos what to do in editing, but when Giancarlo Esposito's butcher of the butcher of
Portsmouth or something. I don't fucking know what it was.
Schenectady or something like that. Yeah,
Butcher of Schenectady.
Schenectady. I had it written down.
Of course, that's
so. When he's talking to other, did you notice when he's talking to other characters? There's a long pause. You're supposed to cut down that pause to make it not look like he's obviously just acting in front of a camera. Because what they do is he's on like a mech, a robot mech, and his face is in the screen. So they just shot it. He's by himself somewhere, and it really felt that way. It felt like he wasn't talking to anybody. He was just reading lines, and then they were responding by reading lines. And those are the people who were actually in the shot. It was for that much money. You think they would have taken, like, you could see where the money went, like all the robots and stuff. They look pretty
CGI
good.
looked great.
Yeah, they look pretty good. So you could see where the money went. It just didn't go into the story. Shad's right. The world building is terrible. This is a world building movie. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of an odyssey, and you're supposed to see like the aftermath of this war between. Okay, so to set it up, I kind of like the first 10 minutes. I was fine with the world building of that, where they bring in President Clinton declaring war on robots, and then he signs a peace accord with Mr. Peanut.
Like that. When they did that montage, that's when I stopped taking the movie seriously.
But that's
like, when they did an overlay of fucking of Bill Clinton is essentially declaring war on Saddam, right? And they change it to him talking about that and saying we're going to war with the fucking robots.
I was laughing.
It's unacceptable.
Yes. And they missed the mark because they were like, they're supposed to be kind to the robots, but there was a war. And you didn't see the robots like tearing people apart, which they should have, because the robots were winning the war. And they finally found peace through Center, which is Stanley Tucci's character. He develops a VR so they can basically have mech avatars and fight the robots and defeat them, and then put them in internment camps in New Mexico.
They say that's how they won. They say that's how they won the war, because robots didn't need to sleep, and now humans would control robots, and they won the war, even though the humans controlling the robots would still need to sleep. And so already the world building is breaking apart.
It starts to
justify it.
But when you see like the Italian waiter fucking robot have a fit in the restaurant, was kind of funny. I laugh. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
That right there.
Really dumb things like that I did laugh.
Yeah.
But that right there, that how they, this company comes in and they save the human race. That's tied to the central conflict of the film, and I want to spoil it because it's retarded, and I want to explain what. So, like, this is major spoilers for the central plot of Electric State.
The plot.
The plot, right? And so the central plot is that they're able to get humans to control robots by a comatose, genius kid that they send all the signals through.
Well,
and
real quick, the kid is Millie Bobby Brown's little genius brother. And they're taking a character from the book, changed his fucking name and changed his origins, but he's supposed to be kind of messianic. And
Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Well, they touched on that a little bit, but he's supposed to. I can't. Oh God, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. I've slept since I've read it, but it's something to the effect of like it was an immaculate conception or something like that. But he was born without a dad. But
he's black.
Yes.
Like
I like how you agreed before you thought about the comment.
Oh shit! Yeah. Send all complaints to Mahler at EFAP.
Who knew there were so many versions? Shanique was out there.
No. So Millie Bobby Brown, and the original story has a girl like traveling across to go find her brother. But this is Millie Bobby Brown. It's and her little brother, and they were really close. Their parents died when not during the war, but they hit a deer. So, and she was told her brother died. So just to give
yes.
So that's the
background
kid
to it, right?
You're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this does not make sense because they're trying to justify that it's the use of this kid's brain that enables them to connect to robots. And we know just on a fundamental technological level, if you can send things via wireless signal, which that's a separate technology, the world building is explicit, that exists in this world. They're connecting to these robots through some type of wireless connection, right? And that's not actually the thing that the brother is enabling. The brother is enabling them just to interface with it. Hang on, you can interface with a robot really easy with just mundane technology. The need to use this kid is not justified in the technology that they're establishing that's available in the world at all. They could easily interface with a robot with a wireless connection and just have hand controls or something like that, and they'd still be able to win the war. And so the fact that, this Miracle Child came along that enables us to control robots now is retarded. It does not make sense.
So, No, you're right. Like what they should have stayed with is the tone of the book. And Little Platoon was talking about this. It's very minimalist. You let the imagination fill in, and you don't explain everything because it's going to be hard to when this all takes place in the 90s, right, in the movie, and you have technology that doesn't fit. You have sentient robots, and I don't mind the sentient robot thing being like some magician or Mr. Peanut. That's fine, but you make them a little more
Gary,
evil.
Yeah, no. As soon
They
as
were
you
so
establish
benevolent
sentient
and
robots-
nice. Yeah.
Oh, I know, right? I wanted the robots
Because it was
to
an
be more
allegory.
evil.
Did they have
The entire
any-
thing was used
It
as
was
an allegory.
Yes,
humans bad, but as soon as you establish sentient robots, you're establishing crazy energy storage capacity in batteries, crazy computing, technology for artificial intelligence, crazy engineering, and none of that technology exists in the rest of the world. They have old school 90s computers, and we're supposed to believe that, hang on, you've got friggin'
And that can be explained.
intelligence.
That can be explained quickly. Like we found an unobtainium energy source that it's proprietary and only 2 people know about it, and that's it. And it's and it lasts forever. That's it.
I mean, that's the thing. The little robot companion doesn't need a charge at all. He's got infinite power storage, and they're traveling across.
But the other one
United
needs.
States.
But
the other one needs to charge, and
that
they run
entire
out of
scene.
power.
Yeah.
We needed like 5 or 10 minutes to explain that the guy couldn't refrigerate his food because the robot was recharging, and it just went on forever.
Yeah,
and
there's
it was so funny.
They really did. There's certain scenes that just went on so fucking long. It's like, can we be done with this? And I guess the biggest disappointment is Chris Pratt is so freaking awful in it. He's so bad. He's so bad. But again, it's just Star-Lord, but much worse.
And they are all like that, though, to be fair. So Stanley Tucci has, he doesn't have even that many lines in it, but there was one line in particular when the robots rise up after we do them as a kind of vague allegory for, I guess, the civil rights movement, because why not? And then they attack the center compound, and one of the guys says, "Oh, what do we do?" And then Stanley Tucci walks out of the door, and with giving no shits at all about the money he's been paid to do this job well, he just says, "What I always do, win."
Yep.
And then that's it. It's just like, you didn't even deliver that line. You just spoke it. That's not acting. That's just talking.
You could see him just get his paycheck right after that. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye.
And there was something there that could have been good, and that's what pissed me off. Because have any of you guys seen the Animatrix? And there's an animated short about the robot uprising. It reminded me of that.
The best. That is the Matrix.
Yeah.
That's the only other Matrix thing is the Animatrix. It's brilliant.
Animatrix.
Yeah.
Right. And
Remember
that
the
short
CGI
about
at
the
the
robot.
time when they're having that fight, and they're sort of slicing the clothes off each other. The quality of CGI animation at that time was like way ahead of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, the short about the robot uprising, it worked really well, and you can do that well. And it almost felt like that they were just playing around with that concept just casually in the opening of this film, but they didn't want to commit to it, because if they showed the robots actually just ripping humans apart and stuff like that, it's like, but no, the robots needed to be, they're the good guys, humans are the bad, and the robots never did anything wrong.
That's where being a kid's film matters, because that's why you can't show the gore. That's why you can't go dark. That's why everyone is nice and happy, and we're trying to teach people that you can't just expel people from a nation because they're actually good, and relying on a piece of paper for their citizenship is really awful. And so trying to preach to the next generation a message, it doesn't mean there should be lower quality stuff, but that is why they targeted that. And I also think the budget matters, because you would let a £10 million film get away with a lot more than a £320 million film. There's no excuse for this being poorly paced, poorly written because of the budget.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. It does. Like, for what it is, it looks great. But it feels like it should have been longer because it's missing chunks of plot. Like at the end when they finally get to Seattle. So the robots who are not allowed,
how did they get there?
They're not allowed to leave their internment camp, and if they do, that's a violation of the treaty, and they're instantly killed. But they somehow managed to make a 1,000. By the way, society, humans won. They're not doing great, but the humans won. There's still a corporation working. We don't really get to see any cities or any other humans at all, so we have no idea what's going on with them. But the robots said, "Hey, we got 1,000 miles to Seattle. I think we can make it." Then boom, they're in Seattle. It's like, wait a minute. I thought you were in this internment camp and we were like trying to figure out how to escape it. It was such a hard thing to do.
So hard.
And they just
I was passively paying attention, and it was the 18-wheelers that they took after they got the code.
Yeah. So the PC, the doctor's PC knew the codes to get them out. Like,
it knew how to get them out. But okay, explain the 1,000 miles of travel that they're not supposed in 18. Were they hiding in 18-wheelers? Who was driving the 18-wheelers? Was it just Millie Bobby Brown?
Or searched or anything like that? Did they need to recharge? Like none of it. Like it pissed me off. And when Millie Bob Brown and Chris Pratt get like they're behind the wall, it's like, oh, we're stuck here. I'm like, get a friggin' ladder. The wall's not that big. Who's guarding it? I mean, you found this entrance into it pretty easily. But
There's a bunch of Mexicans figuring that out every day. Come on.
There was a lot of stuff that, like, when they first found Peanut, he says, we need to get you out of here because your presence here means that we've broken the accords and so the humans can just wipe us out. I'm like, that sounds like a really terrible deal that you signed. If your enemies can walk to you and then go, right, that's it now, we can do whatever we want. That's not a peace agreement.
Humans breaking the treaty, not the robots, but the robots are like, gonna just wipe us out. So much.
So was any of this stuff, like, I didn't read the book, is any of this stuff in the book? This whole plot of her
robots?
No. So what it did, the movie took what the book was, which was the journey, and that's what the focus was, and then removed all that and just focused on this new plot that they made up.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the book is very, very much about like posing questions more than answering it. So you never really learn what the cause of the war is. You don't really learn who was on what side of it, like who was even fighting. It was an implied civil war, and it was over technology, but you don't know the specifics. You don't get the company center is barely in it at all. None of the villainous characters are in it, from what I could see. And all of the interesting questions it does pose, like the fact that the brother is, as Gary mentioned, almost messianic. It's like using these mind projecting VR things has created some, or at least the implication is created some sort of heightened consciousness, like a hive mind system that is trying to recreate itself and has produced the body of this small boy who is nevertheless a threat to all of humanity and must in the end be killed. Those are all like questions to the pose. Can you have possibly have a relationship with something which is threatening your entire species, having transcended it using the very means you use to destroy yourselves? All of that shit's gone and replaced with just generic, oh yeah, it's Giancarlo Esposito being himself again. And isn't that thrilling?
It was Chris Pratt also being himself, but he was a lot more charming.
It's funny,
the Russo brothers were asked.
I was just saying, all the concepts that Little Plume just said sounds really cool. I'm like, okay, I'm into that. And then they decided to remove all the good stuff and give us this childish slop.
The Russo brothers were asked about Secret Wars, like how much of that will enter the movie, and they said, we always create our own version of the story, we just use the comics as loose inspiration. And that's basically what this is. They just it had robots in it, and that's it.
Loose Inspiration was my nickname in college. I didn't watch this thing.
I mean, what about the build-up?
You did yourself a favor, Chrissy.
I watched the other things.
I mean, there was a big emotional moment when a robot was dying at the end, which I did not give a single crap about. But then they built up this whole thing to have this twist that, guess what? He's not really dead because of that. Wasn't that a great twist? Didn't that just... I was like... Come off it.
My question on that is like, couldn't you just repair him? Like, what is it?
I know. Exactly. That's what I was thinking the whole time. It's like, oh, his brain seems to be fine. It's just his power source.
There's a bunch of scrap.
Supply on my computer goes out, I could replace it, and it's still my computer. Like, where's the soul hidden?
There was even a bit at the start where it said that the robots went around hunting other robots for parts.
Yeah, the scavengers.
Right, So.
Exactly. And so this movie wants you to be really invested in this big emotional moment. I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, well, he's not really dead, so I don't give a crap about that. Right. And then, twist, he's still alive because of the thing that they built up. It's like, that's what this... It felt like this whole film was trying to build up to that moment, and it was nothing and stupid on top of it. And
well, part of the other issue, too, I thought the movie was too fucking long. What was like 2 hours and 20 minutes?
2.5 hours.
Oh, God, it was
only 2 hours. And that was 20 minutes of credits, by the way.
Yeah.
So
that's holy crap.
Yeah, long credits, thank God. But it felt 2.5 hours. It was really slow.
It felt fucking longer than that. It felt like 3 hours.
And a movie like this should be at least like visually interesting. But when you like the stuff they emulated Platoon from the book, like we only got flashes of it, like little flashes of it. And there's some great art in the book. It's beautiful. It's a cool looking book. So there should have been more. Seeing the destruction, seeing the they bring in the Hello Kitty robot later, but seeing like this dead Hello Kitty robot that obviously killed a bunch of people, and it was missing heart and soul. That like the plot was too chunky. I didn't care about any of the characters. Millie Bobby Brown, hate to break this to you, she's good in Stranger Things. She's not very good in anything else. She can't carry a movie.
In Stranger Things, she played a character that had been socially isolated, so didn't. When she delivered lines, that's what she was supposed to be doing.
She's mute.
But she just acts that way all the time.
That's what it is.
Yeah, she's very like. I guess that does change a little bit in like season 3 and onward, but yeah, for the most part, she's much more subdued than you would expect.
By season 4, she
has absolute meltdowns. But the movie was missing all these things. But you know what it wasn't missing? George fucking Costanza.
That's right. George Costanza
in this movie.
That's right.
It was so shocking for me to see him randomly as the evil foster dad who just sat there fucking probably jerked off in pretend world all day.
Well, he said he was in Vegas with Cindy Crawford, so you're not wrong. And when like his screen face was there, I had no idea who it was. It wasn't until he took off his VR mask and was like, "Oh shit!"
It took me a second. I was like, "Wait, I know this sounds familiar. What's going on here?"
Yeah.
Oh,
I was in the pool.
I'm around George.
Yeah, I recognized the voice pretty much immediately.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you to not waste money and go to the theater. Maybe Netflix did the theaters a favor on this one because I don't know how you could have. I don't know what makes you want to spend $320 million on something and maybe not get the story right. Netflix will call it number one. It'll be number one on Netflix this weekend. It'll be forgotten by Tuesday. Completely forgotten. It'll be a trivia question if people still do that stuff. So, The Electric Steak could have been good. This movie, that's the biggest bummer about this is if done right, it could have been really good, but it wasn't.
Did they ever say the title of the movie in the, like, she came very close at the end when she was talking about human connection and being together and electricity and things like that. But I was really waiting for Chris Patterson to be like, "This is now the electric state."
Is this some kind of electric state? Yeah.
We exist in an electric state.
Well, they again in the beginning they tried to when he's in school they tried to get into some deeper concepts that they just left behind because they didn't want to Google them.
With
when
the particles,
she's walking down and he starts talking about how electricity can exist in 2 different parts and everything, and she goes, "Yes, you're the smartest person I know. I've always admired your brain. Your brain's so much better than everyone else, and we can all do that." And it was just a big, long piece of exposition telling us what his character is.
So
They just repeated the scene we'd seen that wrapped it up in 20 seconds when he did it.
I did get married to red flags on that. I was like, wait, she's gassing this guy up, so we think he's smart.
I actually think that sort of struck me as having been added late because the most natural beginning for the movie is obviously the news montage, which gives you all of the world state information. That feels like the introduction, but they've tacked this thing on at the beginning, which it's more badly acted than the rest of it, which is all badly acted, but this kind of really stands out, and all of the dialogue is just there to say, "Oh, this is who my character is, and I like you, and this is who your character is. This is our relationship, and here is the theme of the movie." Cut. Movie begins. And I reckon it might be that they got to the end test screening and they said, no one has a clue what the fuck this story is supposed to be about anymore, and we don't know who these characters are, so add another scene at the beginning just so we know what the stakes are, please. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes in and out, done. Like all good sex.
But that scene did nothing to actually get you endeared to those characters, and I didn't care about the relationship, and I didn't care about her saving their brother, and so I wasn't invested in it. It failed at what it was meant to do then.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of that, bring up those Samba numbers because I'm noticing something's missing unless I can't read, which
Daredevil
is a possibility. Thanks for
Thanks
for ruining the punchline there, Ryan.
Yeah.
God, I miss Az, and then that happens.
Despicable Me 4. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yep.
But no, that's proof that all this bullshit about exclusivity and stuff, put it in the fucking theaters. Every time a movie that does well in the theaters, you put it on streaming, it does well on streaming too because it's good. Isn't that crazy, Ryan? Good stuff does good.
Watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a novel concept.
I
That's
like
what I
to
was saying
stick with me
earlier.
for.
That's what I was saying earlier with Netflix. Like, it would behoove them to make movies and put them into theaters so everybody could watch them, and then pull them back into streaming and then say, oh, now you can come to our streaming service to watch that film you loved.
And it's like the cinematic release would be a bit of an advertisement that then boosts the general release. Because that's what I was like, when you go to and watch a movie that you really enjoy, my next kind of thing after is that can't wait until that came out on DVD or VHS for me to get it and watch it again. Because
it also is predicated on making good content. So like that's
yeah, well, there's that as well.
Yeah.
But and also when you look at what kind of Universal is doing, they did the same thing with Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yep.
Like released it in theaters, it was big. I think had a very brief release on their own streaming service, Peacock, which like nobody subscribes to, and then immediately they sold the streaming rights for like 6 months to Netflix, and it immediately became like perennially, like for whatever months it was on there. I guess perennially would be years, but it became consistently one of the most streamed things that they had on the platform for all the months that it was there. And who knows how much Netflix had to pay for that, but Universal gets money from that just like they used to back in the day. And then all of a sudden it's back on Peacock. And if you want to watch it, you got to actually sub to their service.
But what's interesting about that, Ryan, is that they would have made more money, Netflix as a whole, from streaming something they didn't make than the money that they would be getting a return off of Electric State, something that they spent, $300 million to produce.
That's why Netflix is as big as it is, right?
Yeah.
Because predominantly the vast majority of their catalog, and it's not like they haven't done original stuff. They certainly have. And a lot of it's been very successful. Some of it hasn't been. But predominantly what they have are things that they paid for the rights to, like Suits or shit like that, that just goes wild and gets viewed for forever and ever and ever. And that is why they're making money. And it's why places like Disney Plus, who are pouring tens of millions of dollars into original streaming content that nobody is fucking watching, it's why they're not doing well.
And Disney can't produce as much as Netflix because Disney doesn't want to license. They want to be exclusive. At least Apple TV, which, I watch very little of. At least they do try to put some quality content out there, right? Disney just puts Disney stuff out there, but they can't license from anybody. So you're only going to have your Disney back catalog. That's why they bought Hulu, right? Hulu's saving. Disney Plus is a failed streaming service. Absolutely. By itself, on its own, it's completely failed. It needs Hulu to even pretend to look profitable. But if you just look at this list, right? So Netflix dominates the list because Netflix created basically the metrics that they do streaming off of. And this is why Netflix drops everything at once. They get their minutes watched and it boosts their views, and they always dominate this. But White Lotus is number one. A lot of people like that show. Not for me. I don't watch it. But
love it.
1923 is number 2. Reacher's number 3. What is it? Oh shit, what the fuck is that?
Running Point.
Running
Point.
No,
Paradise.
I was looking at Midnight in the Switchgrass. What the fuck is that?
So here, let me pull this off so I can get the size.
There
here.
you go. That's
Midnight in the
make
Switchgrass.
it Gary size.
Venom.
Jesus.
Has a Venom photo.
It does? So
Yeah.
so is it Venom or Midnight in the Switchgrass? I'm guessing it might be Venom. You never know. Despicable Me 4, good movie. But Love is Blind, 0 Day, okay, Paradise. A lot of people are talking about that. But, there's something missing, guys. What's missing? It's during the week it came out. Where's Daredevil?
They published it on the Braille version.
Oh.
Midnight in the Switchgrass is a Bruce Willis movie.
Really?
I've never even heard of it. Yeah.
It has to be Venom because
Yeah.
I do actually think Venom 3 came out on Netflix.
But it's not an original, right? This is for originals.
No. This is Samba. So what they do is just top 5 streaming programs, period, over based off of their metrics, which is counting fucking pixels on a screen or some shit like that. But
no, it's smart TVs that like certain brands or whatever, you opt into the data collection by Samba. I think they've got like 25 million.
Read into how they collect the data though, Ryan. It's weird. It's based off of like this, like what's shown on the screen and everything. It's cool.
I mean, it's the same way, like in the same way that fucking they're detecting what sound you're using on this. They decide to copyright it. You know what I mean?
They're listening
all
to
that
me.
same type of shit.
They're listening to me. Except not on my projector. So Daredevil's not on the list.
That surprised me.
It is surprising.
It's not surprising after they came out with those numbers.
Yeah.
Well, when I heard that it's done worse than what the Acolyte, I was like,
And Agatha at that.
Agatha
I
all
was like,
along, yeah. Which, like, because the
ooh.
Acolyte I could kind of understand because of how much conversation there was around it, but no one talked about Agatha at any point, and it still beat Daredevil.
Yep.
It's
That's
surprising.
pretty sad.
I think it's a better show.
It's absolutely better
Oh, it
than
is,
Agatha
yeah,
and
it's better.
Echo.
I don't like it, but it's better.
It's better. Like even you can say it that like they at least tried, but that makes the news even worse. Even
Yeah.
worse that this is like we could say more well received than Agatha, and it got its ass beat by a fucking Acolyte, by the Acolyte.
That's embarrassing.
That's
Yeah.
embarrassing. That's absolutely embarrassing.
I think it shows that the audience at this point is pretty much fucking checked out.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody has
done.
Disney Plus. Nobody's wanting to watch anything that they have.
No.
Except for Bluey.
Even when it's good.
But that's
even
no.
if
Bluey.
But as Ryan
good.
pointed out earlier, that's no fucking excuse because Disney Plus has, was it twice the subscribers of Paramount Plus?
150 million, which is around, I think Paramount 75, 80, somewhere in that realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So almost twice as much. And Paramount like regularly gets a Taylor Sheridan show in the top 5, like regularly. So Daredevil Born Again launches with 7.5 million views on Disney Plus, and they were pushing this as the best premiere for Disney Plus this year.
Congratulations.
It's the only premiere for Disney Plus this year.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Truthfully, it is the only thing of relevance.
The only thing
and it's also only been 2 fucking months, and one of those was 28 days.
Yeah, remember when they did this last year? It's like deja vu all over again. It's like
Yeah, it's the same shit.
Well, that's the thing when we with the Captain America stuff. It's like we just go through this fucking cycle over and over again, and we're dealing with people on the internet who have the memory retention of a fucking gnat on meth. I don't know. Daredevil Born Again.
Everything needs context, right?
Yes.
This number means absolutely nothing to us if we don't have some context. And unfortunately for Disney, we do have context
We do.
based on the last several years that they've released shit.
Daredevil Born Again enjoyed a strong launch on Disney Plus, according to Disney. The Marvel television series drew 7.5 million views internationally in its first 5 days of availability on D+, with the view defined as total stream time divided by runtime. That makes it the biggest streaming debut on the platform this year. The show officially launched on March 4th, which is the beginning of the 3rd month of the year.
The best show in March.
And this is the
I love
weird
all the
bit.
qualifiers.
I know.
Well, it almost said the
by
best
the-
one released on March 13th at one if there wasn't a full stop there. But it says Disney does not regularly release viewership information. And so you're like, okay, why release this then?
Yeah.
This is
I would
so
keep the
awful.
secret.
This is the one that you shut up about.
It's like Disney does not regularly release viewership information except when it does about its streaming shows. So exact comparisons are difficult. Actually, Ryan, they're not difficult, are they? They're quite easy. Although they're going to bring up terrible examples. Paradise drew 7 million, and that's on Hulu, right? And it probably costs a fraction of what Daredevil cost. Then the first episode of fellow Marvel show, single episode, 1, show Agatha All Along hit 9.3 million in its first week of availability. So that's 7 days. It got a couple extra days, but it's 1 episode in September of 2024.
which was the most views for a Disney show in September.
And Agatha was
Divided by the length of and budget of and duration
Yep.
and the ages of the people that are viewing it. It's the biggest release ever.
And
in history.
it is ass shed. Like Agatha was like miserable, I thought. However, this number is more indicative, not I think of the show being ass, which I don't think it's very good, but it's more indicative that nobody was willing to even give it a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Agatha is a nobody fucking character. So you can make all the excuses you want about, oh, well, the rating of
Yes,
this,
rated
like,
R.
the family is away, like all that shit. You can make all those excuses, but you have Daredevil, who, no, he's not fucking Spider-Man. He's not like, we understand that. However, it does have a very good, passionate fan base surrounding it because of its run on Netflix. He is a character that people know. And it will be one thing if it was that close to the numbers from, say, a Spider-Man TV series, like an actual one, not an animated one, but not this. This is sad. And it's probably tracking behind that even when it gets to 7 days, because most of the views are going to be the first day or two and at least over the weekend, which they accounted for in this number. So that's a horrible
They
start.
should have had more.
It really is. Do you think what might have harmed it is the fact that they tying it to the continuity of the Netflix show, and for people to feel up to date, they would need to watch all the backlog?
No, I think what harmed it was Daredevil's walk of shame and fucking Kingpin's treatment in Hawkeye and Echo, which most people didn't see, but a lot of people made YouTube videos about it, so they heard about it and they're like, "Fucking am I?" This is the most indicative of driving away your core audience. This is the comic book fans. This is like, it's a deep cut for normies, even Daredevil. But comic book fans, every comic book fan knows fucking Daredevil and loves it and respects it. And you would have had your hardcore fans tuning in, except you're not. They're done. So the ones you abandoned.
Casual fans are out of the habit of watching these things as well. So for hardcore fans will be the ones who've seen all of the scenes from Daredevil in things like She-Hulk, and they'll have seen Kingpin get shot in the fucking head in Hawkeye, and then have his mind raped by a Native American witch in Echo. All of the crazy stuff that we got to watch and nobody else did. So we've seen all of that, but casual fans will be like, well, I've tuned in for the last 3 or 4, and what did I get? I got Agatha. Most people, I think, stopped watching after the first episode. I got Echo, which is a show so boring that it basically faded out of existence in all of space-time. And then Hawkeye, which nobody gave a damn about either. You've now got to the point where it's another Disney Marvel TV show, but none of them are watchable. None of them are must-see TV. You're kind of falling out of the habit of making time for these things. And then another one turns up and it's like, well, I've got other things I could be watching. And I've got other subscription services that I could be giving my money to rather than Disney at this point. So why would I bother?
I think it's a general audience pushback against Disney in general. Like they don't want to see what Disney puts out.
Yeah.
They don't
Well, they don't trust it.
Yeah, apathy.
Yeah,
They don't trust it.
apathy, lack
We're
of
talking
trust,
about Captain America, Captain Black America, Brave New World, which did pitifully at the box office, right? They still got 2 more movies they're going to release this year. And it's just another
2 bad shows.
Series of Disney Plus series
Ironheart
that have been bad
One
for
bad show,
Marvel.
sorry.
It's just another one.
Yeah, like before Fantastic Four, which is their next great hope, is Thunderbolts and then Ironheart. That's not going to get a lot of excitement going for Fantastic Four. That's got a female Silver Surfer, which is going to piss off every fucking comic book fan alive.
And these numbers are just these numbers are just indicative of the interest in tuning into the show to see how it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think a lot of people have tuned in and see where it's going, and certainly some red flags that we see, it's only going to get much worse.
Yeah.
Because that initial number is not on like, hey, everyone thinks it's bad. No, those are just the people that tuned in to see how it was.
And that's important because like you could cite, and I would ordinarily be inclined to cite like the writing quality is the reason that the show is doing badly, but that can't affect people who are tuning in having not seen it yet. So the initial numbers of people just tuning in to say, oh, it's a Daredevil show, I'm kind of interested. That's all that's indicative of is basically fatigue with Marvel as a brand and a franchise and getting used to how terrible the quality of the thing is at this point. The numbers will drop because the show is not very well written and it's doing a disservice to most of its main characters, and it's somehow found a way to stick Kingpin in marriage therapy and nobody wants to see that. But the fact that nobody actually wanted to watch it to begin with, that's nothing to do with the writing of this show. That's everything that came before it.
And he does not want to be there.
I was interested to see if there was any way to compare it like with the original Netflix Daredevil. And of course, information at that time, especially when Netflix was the primary name in the game and they weren't really releasing their viewing numbers, wasn't very much out there. But I saw a report that about 2.3% of the entire subscriber base of Netflix at that time, which was about 40 million subscribers, watched the first episode on the first day, like watched Daredevil on the first day. Equivalent to today's terms, that'd be about 7 million people on the first day alone. And that was, again, the original show, which... Again, think about how much bigger it got after that first. Again, people grew to like that show and come to it. So they've lost a lot of people, clearly.
2% of 40 million is
2.3% of 40.9 million.
And you're saying that's 7
I'm saying like in the
people?
equivalent of today, which is 300 million subscribers, because that was back when they only had 40 million.
Got it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The math would not be correct if it was 40 million.
At all.
I'd be interested to see the numbers of the original, like rewatches of the original show. Like, what is that compared to
Oh, it's
the new
probably
show?
very well. It's very high, and then it moved. Then they ripped it off of Netflix, and it's on Disney Plus, and who knows?
And now it's probably much lower.
And yeah, you're putting something like honestly, Daredevil probably should have gone on Hulu. I mean, if you're going to do a rated R thing, and not that you think, well, that probably doesn't make a difference, but it probably should have because there's more subscribers on Hulu, or they're equal, and it's more set for rated R and adult stuff. If they're using that as an excuse, which is no fucking excuse, Daredevil should have been. It should have charted. It should have been in the top 5, at least for curiosity factor. So there's tons of factors. It's 6 years afterwards, but mostly it's just Disney put out a bunch of shit. And nobody trusts them anymore. And
they get what they deserve. That like that
Pretty
side of
much.
it is beautiful to see.
Yeah.
It's like Disney. Yes,
they should be worried. This is your canary in the coal mine for this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
And,
not
and they've
just
got
Disney.
season 2 already on the docket. They've got Punisher possibly coming out, and this is the opening for this. Like, these are your numbers now.
Man, there's so many things to worry. If nobody's going to stick around and if it sticks to landing at all, like nobody's going to stick around because you have to wait. I was fine with the last episode. It was a bit boring, but I like the White Tiger stuff, but they fucked up on, and I fucking hate Kingpin and Vanessa being in counseling. I think that's gay, but, I was fine with the ending, but it's not going to do anything to bring people in like at all. Like it's going to tail off. And even if they stick the landing, what's the point? What's the point? And you're going to bring back Foggy and Karen. Karen's the one who should be dead. Karen's the one who should be dead by now.
I had actually wondered that when we first started seeing some of the promotional material, because there was a lot of stuff out there that Foggy was going to die, but I wondered if Karen, because they showed like that one scene, turns out it was from the first episode of her in the back of the courtroom that Matt was looking at. And I was like thinking, is this something where, like Matt thinks he senses her or whatever and turns, but she's not like something like that. But obviously he wouldn't see her.
It'd be great to play in the story.
You ask yourself when they did the initial run, when they did this initial run, and we're gonna like kind of loosely adapt the Mark Waid run and do this fucking She-Hulk shit, the stuff they shit canned. What was the thinking of getting rid of Foggy and Karen in the first place? Oh, they're too white. You have 3 white people.
Yeah.
That was the fucking decision. So
let's replace them with these diverse other cast members.
Here's the thing, like those 2 characters, the partner lawyer and the investigator, literally are doing the role of Foggy and Karen in the first season, and they've replaced them with 2 less likable characters that you're not interested or invested in. They have no good backstory.
There's no character tension.
No, the only thing they're good for right now, which they did well, was nod when in the courtroom. Or react. That's all they did in this episode. They're like, oh shit,
They were
and
diverse
compare. I want you all, if you haven't already done it, compare these 3 episodes to the first episode of season 2 of Daredevil.
You can't.
It sets up every single character perfectly. It gets them all in their own arcs in that episode. Through that, they set up all of them where they are, where
you
they've
also
been,
had better
where they're
writers. You had Stephen S. Denied.
And do that comparison like character by character as well. Like just compare Foggy to his replacement. One of the major differences between them is that I actually know who Foggy's name is, and I don't know who his replacement is. Like, no character there whatsoever. I'm not invested in anything that he doesn't say or do. He's just not a person yet. And there's been 3 episodes, and there's only 9 on there in this season. So it's 3
it's not
out of
13.
9. Not 13. So in less time, they have accomplished far less, and they've ditched all of the good work that they carried through, which is half the reason people were tuning into this to begin with. It's all of the good work that other people did.
Charlie Cox is carrying the show right now, and Vincent D'Onofrio, even in the shitty scenes, is carrying the show. Kirsten McDuffie is a fucking terrible character in the comics, so they've adapted her well. Because she's fucking terrible in the comics and she's terrible here. And if she just sits back and nods for the rest of the season, I'm fine with that. And we could just get Charlie Cox. But they're not coming back. So we have this quote unquote slow burn. He doesn't put his costume on until like episode 6.
The thing is, they haven't replaced him.
That's so stupid.
So we're supposed to care about White Tiger when the only thing we've seen him do is on a CCTV camera for about 3 seconds.
That was the biggest mistake. The guy's good.
He was great.
But in the courtroom,
also rest in peace because that guy's dead now.
Because he's dead.
Yeah, they shot him.
Not just in the show.
So
The actor.
Oh no!
Oh, shit.
gosh.
Yeah, he died of
Yeah.
cancer. Fuck cancer. So in the courtroom scene, the biggest
He had to watch the screening. That's what happened.
Oh.
in the courtroom scene, the biggest ball they dropped in this was they were trying to make him a hero, and we're in a series about costume superheroes, and we're not putting a costume on Matt. So why don't you, instead of telling us about how much of a hero White Tiger is, you show him saving that family in the burning car.
Yeah.
You show him doing that stuff while the voiceover is going. It would have been fucking easy.
Exactly.
But they didn't. And the
Well,
first
did
time he
the,
puts on his costume, he gets his fucking head blown off.
Well, that scene was just laughable. But now knowing that the actor is dead, I wonder whether is that a response to the fact that he's died and he couldn't
They
fill any
shot
of the
this
scenes?
years
Because,
ago.
the only time you see him in costume,
No, he was
going to
die
how
anyway.
good this guy is as this vigilante superhero, and he goes around and he's got an amulet that gives him magical strength and all the rest of that bullshit. The first time you see him in costume, he's just walking down the street in costume, turns a corner, and gets shot in the head.
Well, he
If
gets
it's that easy to
he
kill
gets
the guy.
lured.
How
He
did
gets-
he ever get?
He gets lured. He hears some screaming. So that's when he turns around and so it's either a cop or it's Muse. It's one
I
of the
think
two.
it's Muse, right?
I think it's
like,
Muse.
I think you're supposed to, like, obviously it's not fucking Punisher, but it's either Muse or a dirty cop cosplaying
With
as
the
Punisher.
Tattoos.
So what
the
I'm trying to say is
actor
that
died-
an actually good vigilante character is not as easily distracted as a Metal Gear Solid guard. You can't just whistle and say, "Hey, what was that noise?" And then just shoot him in the fucking head.
It was
Must
a
be the
woman-
wind.
So it was a woman screaming. That's what it
It
sounded
was a woman
like.
screaming. Yeah.
Right. And
No, but Disparu has a point. If it's supposed to be this vigilante,
I don't know why you
you've
keep
got
calling
magical
Little Platoon
powers.
Disparu. That's the second time you've done it.
I really, I don't. You're both British. I
You just
can't.
say all
remember.
British people sound the same. It's a kind of racism.
so the actor died in December of 2023, which is a long time ago.
Long time
So
ago. He was in
it
the first
actually
run.
may have affected some of this stuff.
Well,
Like for me, what I think would have drastically helped this series is a couple more episodes, like 2 episodes maybe.
Oh, Foggy and Karen. Yeah.
Like the first one being just Matt, Karen, and Foggy. Because it's been 7 years since we've seen these characters. Not just a little bit of back and forth with Karen and Matt while Foggy's hitting on the black lawyer. Like, not just that, and then all of a sudden he's dead. But an actual full episode of them, maybe even doing a case or two, showing where they're at, reminding the audience of like why they're doing this, why they're still in this hovel, to help these people in the community. A conversation about maybe, because Foggy was like, I didn't want to give you the excuse, implying he's kind of wants Matt to not be Daredevil anymore, right? Have those conversations. Give us context. Show them where these characters are at now. And then at the end of episode 1, death of Foggy. Okay? And then in episode 2, we get the actual fucking fallout from that. We see we see Matt trying to deal with it. We see him going to the funeral. We see fucking Karen getting upset at him and then like screaming at each other, both because they're upset about Foggy, but they're taken out of each. Like, see that, and then show her finally leave. And then in that second episode, when Daredevil's like kind of not doing anything, you see the emergence of White Tiger, right? You see him doing things. Some of the examples that they showed us in the courtroom of him saving a cop or pulling some guy out, we get to see that
and
actually.
see more of the
would've helped.
yeah, see more of the
To me, that
vacuum.
would've helped the show a lot.
See more of the vacuum left by Daredevil quitting too. You know, they talked
Yeah.
about the Daredevil, the fake Daredevils out there and other costume heroes that are supposed to be technically getting plucked off. We got one. You know, I don't know if we're going to get any more though. That's the thing. If he's the only
But
one,
it's hard to say if they've got time. But going back to Ryan's point, I'd go almost one further and say that this should have been the story of this season, not the first episode. There's so much that is incredibly important to set up. You've got 2 very interesting plot lines that are unfolding. You've got Kingpin's rise to become mayor, despite all of the things he's done, all of the challenges he has to overcome. You've got his evolving attitude toward vigilantes, which needs an explanation because the one the show gives us makes no fucking sense. And you've got the evolving attitude towards Matt and his role as Daredevil. Season 1 culminating with Kingpin becoming mayor and the death of Foggy would give you an entire season with which to tell a way more interesting story than the slow burn that we've got, which would then allow you to see how Kingpin goes from being wherever we left him at the end of Echo to mayor of New York, which allows you to see why Foggy's turned against the idea that Matt is actually a vigilante, even though really that didn't happen in season 3 of the Netflix show.
and they
it
didn't
gives
really
you your natural season end point, which is incredibly dramatic. Much loved character dies, end of season, which sets you up for a season 2 much better than the one we got at the moment.
And they don't really like the snap, the blip. How was Daredevil and Kingpin affected by it? Well, they were, and Marvel has confirmed it. They don't really tell you in any show. They kind of allude to it in Hawkeye, and I ain't fucking going back to check. But
that's how Kingpin escaped. The blip happened.
He secures his release. He doesn't escape. He secures his release. He gets out and exonerated. And then he takes over the tracksuit. Somehow the Kingpin returned. None of that's explained. Then he takes over the tracksuit mafia from fucking Hawkeye. It's so retarded. And then
that can be like somewhat like. There are things you can do with the blip like that when it comes to all of a sudden we, say there's an uneven distribution between the amount of prisoners that got blipped and the amount of guards. And all of a sudden there's no manpower and they start looking at selective releases. You've been there in California, Gary. You know that people.
Well, it works out great when they let them out early. It works out fantastic.
But,
yeah, they didn't let me out early. Fuck.
Exactly. But like. You could tell something like that and actually make it somehow make sense in the world. But I just think that there's so much. I agree, Platoon. I don't know if they could have stretched the whole season out of it. But to me, there's things that happen in this where, it's being criticized for effectively doing, again, Daredevil puts down the thing. It's been 7 years. I could believe that at this point in time, going through the tragic death of his friend, maybe blaming himself for
surviving the blip, because Daredevil survived the blip too.
That Matt would make the decision to put down the Daredevil cowl again.
But it's
you have to show me why. You have to explain it. You have to set that up. You can't just let me have my imagination and make up all these things to make your story work.
Real quick, Daredevil survives the blip too. So what's the context of that? Did something, that's a long time with half the heroes gone and maybe he has to pick up some of the pieces. This is why, we're way past it, but Marvel should have done an entire series addressing every detail of this stupid fucking decision from Endgame that they never planned on moving past. We're going to forget that half the population was gone for 5 fucking years.
Well, they temporarily remembered in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier got much more interested in using the blip as an allegory for racism, and then it forgot the blip all over again. And then you had all this massively conflicting messages coming out where you had the director of one show say, the consequences of the blip, they're staying with us forever. And then another director comes out and says, no, we're basically done with the blip at the end of Phase 4. No one has a clue where they were taking that story, despite it being the most dramatic thing that could possibly happen to the world. No, just use it to talk about George Floyd. That's definitely a good idea.
Like Kingpin was about to go into couples therapy, and then he gets blipped, and he's like, "Yes, I don't have to go now."
And he shows when he gets snapped back into existence, it's in the middle of a different couple that's currently going through therapy.
He's just
and Kingpin just appears on the couch. Yeah.
Excuse me
for a second.
But that is one thing that Shield did well.
The whole animated series called The Blip, where you address all of the other fucking different characters in the MCU that weren't included in Endgame that we know, some things of what they were doing, and fucking do it.
That is one thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. did well, was tie itself into the movies, especially in the first season, where it had the whole Hydra reveal. Yeah. It was built up way better in the series than it was in the movies, because they had more time to tell it, so it makes sense.
And
that's
Daredevil.
What you need a consistent series that lasts throughout, that you can tie all this stuff together with. Doing another spin-off series for this and another spin-off series for this is where you get the problems, because none of these creators talk. They all want to do their own thing. They all pretend they're artists rather than submitting themselves to the work. And so you'll always end up with contradictions.
One of the best ideas from, I'm going to dare say, Homecoming, a movie I don't like at all. But one of the best ideas of it was the Vulture, picking up scrap from the Battle of New York. And then Daredevil dealt with it, is that power vacuum that came into Hell's Kitchen and created Kingpin, and that council with Madame Gao was all after the Battle of New York.
And they world build in the season 1. They throw it in a little bit, speckle it in when it matters, when it gives a little bit of insight of what's going on, why there's a power gap. They did it beautifully in that season 1. And in this one, it's like they got retarded.
They got retarded. Speaking of retarded,
everything in Disney, man.
Pretty much. Captain African
Well,
American.
actually, before Captain America, one thing I wanted to point out too about just Disney in general is, you mentioned that the actor died, right? I think his last name was De Los Reyes, I believe. I had to look back just to double check. They did not give a in memory of.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
I thought they did.
When?
They did.
When?
The first
When?
episode.
Beginning of the second episode.
But not this one. When the character dies.
Oh yeah.
No, they just did it in the beginning of the second episode.
I don't know.
They might have
feel like it would have been more
a little
appropriate.
too
then.
on point. Man, they
Too on
did
the
it when they
nose.
Yeah,
introduced
you know what?
his
Right after he
character.
gets shot in the head, they should have put it up. Jesus. Damn. Yeah, speaking of being shot in the head, this is a good one. Captain African American is officially a flop according to most everybody except for one website, which we'll get to, which is hilarious. But yeah, if we got the article on that.
I've got the raw numbers.
Do we,
Raw numbers.
is this current number? Is this by the numbers, by the way? Don't use Box Office Mojo.
This is Box Office
that's
Mojo.
Do not use Box Office
Current
Mojo.
I do usually get both, so let me get the other one.
Box
here.
Office Mojo tends to fuck up a lot. Do they not, Odin?
Oh, yes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, like the
Remember
worst
when-
thing they did was like when a lot of times when their films release, these movies release over a holiday weekend, they will somehow predict like the Monday numbers when it's like, wait a minute, you got to wait for the Sunday drop off to actually be seen before you can even make that type of projection. And so like they'll have the people come out and say, oh, look, it made all this money. It's like, no, it's actually they're predicting a day in advance before actually getting any percentages.
Or sometimes they've accidentally.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they've accidentally added like, say domestic is 200 million, international is 200 million, global's 400. They've accidentally transposed like the 400 to a different spot and then added again, so it'll look like 200 domestic, 400 international, 600 global.
I forget what movie it was, but I remember John
Thor:
Campy
Love
at
and
one
Thunder.
point was running with it, saying like, "Look at how great this movie's actually doing," and I was like,
it was Thor: Love and Thunder.
"Yeah, that's right." I was like, you're reading the wrong numbers there. Good job."
I got Forbes.
There's Forbes. How Captain? Well, there's also that tweet from Variety. I'll get it to you right now.
Yeah, Variety put out a tweet in their article looking at the upcoming weekend
It's in our
with,
research,
Novocaine predicted to take top spot in the box office, talking about Mickey 17 flopping. But yeah, they put out a tweet that linked to it, which says, Captain America Brave New World is set to become one of the MCU's lowest grossing movies of all time.
Of all time. Of all time. So
Hold on a little more.
even after all the fronting for this movie,
There's a lot of
Right there.
bullshit budget. Here it is. Meanwhile, Disney Marvel's, I like how they call it. Well, it should be Disney Marvel, but I'll take Disney's Marvel sequel. Captain America Brave New World is projected to add around $5 million in its fifth weekend on the big screen with no competition. Mickey 17 completely flopping. The superhero adventure starring Anthony Mackie has earned $177 million domestically and $370.8 million worldwide, which is enough to rank it as the biggest Hollywood release of the year, but isn't nearly enough to offset
10 weeks.
nearly enough to offset the massive $180 million price tag, which would have still okay. Stop this bullshit. That would make it. Stop fucking running this bullshit. Okay, that would make it the cheapest fucking Marvel movie since Endgame. It's abject bullshit, especially with all the reshits. Yeah, reshits.
That's a great name for it.
All the reshits.
That's what Disney's making.
And they're finally starting to bring up. The marketing budget, which was $100 million, which would make it the least Marvel has spent on marketing for any Disney Marvel movie since Endgame. And before Endgame.
It was Variety that said that, and now they've dropped it off and again in their article. So they're still like hedging their bets either way. And marketing should obviously be included in the budget that you make the movie with, because you have to make it back. So
Yes.
separating the budget
you'd
in
think.
itself is
Well,
very dubious
they
practice.
don't have to tell the truth. I mean, they can just go out there and fucking lie, and it works.
I think they
look at
should,
the
though,
past.
because of
So
duty to
that
shareholders.
article goes on, right? So if you pull it back up, I think the very next paragraph says, you scroll down a little bit. Yeah, here it is. At this rate, Captain America Brave New World will wind up as one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies of all time. Above the flat-out disasters like 2023's The Marvels and 2011's, which I think was actually 2008.
It was 2008.
Yeah,
Yes.
2008.
264 million. But in the realm of disappointments, like 2021's Eternals and 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Marvel has 2 more movies, blah blah blah. But like,
Is it
here's-
even fair to call The
finally
Incredible
clear on
Hulk
the
a disaster when there wasn't even an MCU at the time that movie came
And the budget
out?
was not nearly as high
Yeah.
as what this one's is.
What
I
would
just
you
like
rather
what the
watch?
paragraph
Probably
implies
did
as well,
lose
though.
money.
The
right?
Incredible Hulk at this point.
The Incredible Hulk was probably like $120 million budget, something like that. But I mean, 264 million from 2008 to today. What would that look like today, Odin? If you just had to hazard a guess about the inflation, somewhere
So
around
if
450 million, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we're talking about like this is when you adjust for inflation. This is going to be one of the bottom like 2 or 3 films in the entire history of the MCU.
Are you sure about that?
Well, as that paragraph said,
Are
though,
you sure?
well, they've still got 2 more movies coming this year. There's
Yeah,
still
that's
2
true.
chances to beat it.
Collider has something to say on that. Okay.
Captain America Brave New World is officially one of the highest grossing action movies in the U.S. box office history. What?
Okay, sure, Jake.
All right.
Jake, what is your reasoning?
Show your workings.
Well, how many
please.
are we including in one of? Because it is a movie in box office history.
Gosh,
Okay.
I don't know how much credibility people thought Collider and this guy had, but it's just dead. It's gone.
Well,
Currently,
the thing is, it's not like the headline's accurate if you count the top 100 of all time in there,
and don't adjust
the
for
problem
inflation.
Is the
And don't
context required to understand this.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, clearly it was a headline
it-
meant to generate
It
clicks.
beat an
People
action.
like, what
I'm
the
guessing
fuck?
it beat Die Hard or something like in 1986 or whenever it came out. Yeah. Okay. Well done. You have to adjust for inflation. So scroll down a little bit. Does it give us the reasoning, Garrett?
I clicked on the link. I was trying to see if what the topping the box office charts. It just links back to an article about this movie.
Fuck this.
So,
It's Collider. Collider's the shit.
where's the list?
I think it did say
scroll
number
up a little
100
bit, hold
spot.
on. You guys can't fucking read quick enough.
No.
Right.
There you
So
go,
it just-
overtaking the former holder of the 100 spot.
There it is.
Men in Black 3. So that's what it just overtook for number 100.
Also, speaking of Hulk, I went back and looked at some of my charts, and so the opening weekend for Hulk in 2008, when you adjust for inflation, was $79 million. So even though technically you could argue that Brave New World made more in its opening, it only made $88 million in its opening. So like no MCU, Incredible Hulk comes out, makes $79 million, and then this movie comes out and only makes 88 in comparison. So like this just shows you how weak, and even then it's still going to end up making less money overall than that film did adjusted.
So it beat out the famous action movie Men in Black 3, widely known as an action film.
And it's about to overtake X-Men Origins
Wolverine.
from
Oh, wow.
2009.
Oh, my God.
It's a winner.
It's a winner. Oh, it's like 2 retards playing chess. It's like, oh, my God. So good old Collider, being Collider, on a day where even Variety comes out and goes, yeah, this isn't good. When it was Deadline was doing the most protecting of Marvel, too. But they're all owned by the same company, as you
It's
know.
like watching a bunch of retards trying to fuck a doorknob out there.
That's Collider. That's Collider. Hey,
Headline, I think last week or the week before, and the headline was something like Captain America Brave New World is set to beat the MCU's lowest grossing movie's total haul in its first week. So I thought that was kind of peak journalistic malpractice in terms of cope for a bad movie, but apparently no, Collider can top that.
yes, they can.
Now it's so successful. Trust me, guys. I know everyone hates it, but it's still really good.
If you really think about it.
If you really think about it, it still sucked.
Also compare this is even better. So the fourth Thursday numbers for Hulk back in that time adjusted as $1 million versus $795,000 for Captain America. Brave New World. It was still making $1 million a day back in 2008. That's amazing.
It was.
Heyday.
Do we want to do well, we got to get to Snow White. Do we want to do Anthony Mackie's? Well, he said a couple of things. And of course, Anthony Mackie's had a history of saying some really good stuff and some really crazy stuff. Just making him an actor.
He cries
Often
in
back
a
to
lot
back.
of interviews.
He does? I
He cries in this one. I've seen it. There was one where he's talking. To be fair, he was talking to Jimmy Kimmel. That's enough to reduce anyone to tears. But I haven't seen him in that many interviews, and he's cried at least 3 in the ones I've seen.
Garrett?
Let's see, which one do we want to do first? Do we want to do the one about boys or the one about black people not being successful? You know,
Start with that one.
Good for him.
Start with that one.
And this is not the first time we've heard Anthony Mackie talk about kind of traditional masculine roles and stuff like that. And I don't mean roles like the things he plays in for pretend. I'm talking about in real life, right? The duty of a man, masculine versus feminine responsibility, shit like that. It's not the first time he's talked about this.
I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he's gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another.
So far,
I've watched some of your movies.
I like how
You can always say no.
that. How he glosses over that though, for one reason or another. It's like, no one went.
It's like he's
what are those
almost
reasons?
there.
I also think he's very specifically talking about black people.
Yeah, in our communities.
Yeah, like just for the record.
Yep.
But
the room he's in.
Didn't the director for Brave New World come out and say, "Oh yeah, the Captain America, his superpower is his empathy"?
Yeah,
like, that's what do you call that?
Same shit.
Men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, you jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Hiya!
I don't get what he means by the end. American masculinity is very different. Does he mean it's changed over time, or
anybody else's
That's what
masculinity?
people say about it. I think is what he's trying to apply there. That people say American masculinity is different than anywhere. I think it's kind of true. Like, you think about standards in the United Kingdom, standards in the United States, all across the world. Those standards are different.
Not so much a masculinity thing, though, as a general. Because this is one of the issues, the things that he said. It was a lot of what he feels he needs to do for other people, and it's like. Never expected, well, what the other side of that coin is, if masculinity has been destroyed, what's replaced it? And he never approached that as, well, maybe the way we've gone is bad. It's like, no, we need to...
That's the whole... If he means, I don't know, I can't get into his head, but if he means about the erosion of masculinity in America, that has definitely happened. And it's kind of like Ben Stiller complaining that you can't make Tropic Thunder today. And it's like, it's amazing that these guys, you know, you work in Hollywood and you can't make the connection. Like, why is that? Yeah. Is it your industry, the one that you support, and stories that you're signing on for, and things like Black Captain America, which is basically a hand-me-down? Like, you don't think you're contributing to this? And when they do, just within Marvel, when they had Black Panther as a lead, or Shang-Chi, I mean, quite frankly, the women were more masculine than, you know, Simu Liu, but the whole point is you have to have a male character surrounded by 2 or 3 female characters at all times. Yeah, no wonder why, or calling all masculinity toxic masculinity, you wonder why it's been eroded. It's strange. Really fucking weird.
It's while I was researching videos of him talking for the video we did, in one of those videos, the interviewer was asking him about being a role model for Black people and seeing a little kid, and he went into the talking points that's all these actors go into. It's really important for black kids to see somebody that looks like them on screen. And then he in the same breath goes, when I was a kid, I loved Superman. And I didn't see Superman being a white guy. I could identify with anything that Superman did because I wanted to be like Superman. I was like, so then these two thoughts aren't the same thought. Like you can't have both of those.
Himself.
So it feels like these are things they're pushed into them to say. Like this feels like he's outside the system. He's not doing an interview for specifically. It doesn't seem like anything specifically related to Marvel. He's just talking off the cuff, and this is what he believes. And then he goes into being interviewed for the movie, and he goes, "It's really important for black people to see, or black kids to see a black person."
I don't think it's so much being told what to say from a Hollywood perspective. I think a lot of people have what they instinctually believe. No, well, what they instinctually believe, how they feel, because we've gone back millions of years and this has evolved into you, and what society has told you that you should believe, and they have that contradiction, and they've just never thought about it.
It's also a different thing. Like the lines you're taking in front of a general audience and the line you're going to take in front of a specific podcast audience. And I'm not familiar with the podcast you were speaking on then, but I'm going to hazard a guess and say that that's a podcast that lots of black men listen to. So obviously you're going to be talking in one way to that audience, and then when you're on the press carpet for like a major Marvel film, then you'll be given studio lines to take about the importance of universality, and everyone can see themselves in this character and how great it is that the movie allows black people to see themselves in Captain America because they never could do that before. And so it's just, and that kind of disconnect is just, I think, the result of not really thinking through your own positions. He even does it twice in this interview. I think we might even be coming on to the next one next. You start off by preaching the virtues and the values of self-reliance. And then in the next beat, you say, oh, but also meritocracy is a lie because success is all given to you and you can't really earn it. So, it's shit. I was like, well, again, that's the kind of contradiction you can only have if you've never considered your own position for more than 5 minutes.
Well, especially when he is like, there is what we're about to listen to him say is essentially, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter anything. Somebody who just is going to be given an opportunity at some point, which is ironic because he was literally given that. And you know what? In his industry, just like many others, there's plenty of people that get handed things that they don't deserve.
Exactly.
However, it doesn't
like a shield.
The message that you should be teaching to your children, which is specifically what this is about, which is, you know what? Sometimes you're going to have good breaks. Sometimes you're going to have bad breaks. But if you prepare, if you work hard, if you do everything you can to make sure when you get an opportunity, you can take advantage of it, you put yourself in the best possible position to succeed, period, bottom line. But this is what he has to say about that.
This is what he has to say, and see if it makes sense.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday, thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that, again, and this is fresh on my heart. Like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can
pause it.
Black Captain America slogan right there. Success is given, not earned.
Yes.
Yep. Well, you're not wrong, though, is he, in this situation? He was given it. All the things that Captain America has are given to him by other people. And he's saying that's what we
was given everything Captain America earned.
It'll just be given to him.
He was given
America now.
He was given everything Steve Rogers earned. And what did he do with it? Made a flop.
And from a candor and all kinds of stuff.
But he's talking...
and that's why their industry is collapsing right
exactly.
now, right? And specifically, again, there's always going to be, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. It doesn't matter if you're fucking changing tires. It doesn't matter if you're drilling for oil. It doesn't matter if you're in Hollywood, like whatever. There's always going to be like the dude that that you look at, you're like, that dude's a piece of shit, yet he knows the right guy and somehow gets an opportunity. There's always going to be that. However, that doesn't negate the reality that the idea of telling your children, especially a black father telling his black children, that it doesn't matter how hard you work, somebody else is always going to have the benefits more than you. Someone's always going to get that. So you might as well not even work hard. Like, that is the most retarded thing that you could tell your children ever.
That is the
worst
worst
perspective thing, man.
It's the worst.
It's also just not true. I mean,
it is true for him.
Well, no, it's not true, but there's a problem if we want to talk about communities. There's a problem among certain communities where they have this approach from some parents where and you're not providing you're not telling your kid the truth, because the fact is you can work hard, and we're not talking about Hollywood here. So one of the things that I noticed through recovery and through being in prison, I don't know what it's like to walk in another man's shoes. I'm not going to say that, but one of the common themes is no parents, abuse, a hopeless childhood. And if you are growing up in a neighborhood with, no matter what race you are, and you are in an abusive home or anything, you just have this hopeless, nihilistic outlook on life because that's all you've ever seen. And that's what leads to crime. That's what leads to drug abuse. That's what leads to abusing other people. This is the worst fucking message you can give your kid. This is why you need a dad, or at least like a father figure, an uncle in your life, and a mom to show you that, yes, you can. No, maybe you won't be a movie star. You know what? Yes, there's a lot of like, it's not who you know, it's who you blow in Hollywood. But in the real world, for the most part, if you work your ass off, you will rise in that company or whatever job you're at.
Absolutely. Than if you didn't work that hard.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can just not work and see what happens. Yeah, it's not going to be better.
Anthony Mackie does make it clear. This is not some self-referential recognition that he's been given all of these things. That's not what this is. He's still putting himself in the camp of people who have done all the things that they're supposed to do, but I haven't been given what I should have yet.
Except he literally has.
No, I think this is imposter syndrome because he spent the last 20 years working hard and he didn't get anywhere with it, all the massive success. And now he realizes he did get Captain America because of that. It was given to him when he didn't deserve it. And it's made him have imposter syndrome. Like, I don't belong here.
Yeah, that's a good
big
point.
break came around because I was given it when I didn't.
That's the problem with affirmative action from the get-go. Is if you do the work that you require to be successful, even if you do that, you will get to that point and think, do I really deserve this? Because they gave it to me. And this whole point of view, this is like a pessimistic, glass half empty point of view of it. It's like, coaches will find a great player and they'll pick them, or actors they'll find a great director and then the actor will be picked from there. But like what Ryan was saying, if you've done the work, if you're prepared to take advantage of that opportunity, then that's on you. If you're not prepared, then
you're not going to make it. Yes.
No one's saying life is fucking fair. And I get it. Like every time I say this, that the idea of Anthony Mackie coming out and telling his kids success is given, not earned. That's a terrible thing to fucking tell your children. I know I'll have a couple people in the comments, a couple people on Twitter replies be like, but it's true. I work really hard and my life still sucks. Okay. You know what? Yeah. Not everyone's dealt the same hand of cards. Life isn't fucking fair. There are some people that start here, some people that start here. That's a truth. That's a reality.
It's also, you can work really hard at the wrong things, which is quite often the problem that comes about. So lines like this are like a kind of preemptive self-defense, because you might think, well, I worked really hard at this particular area of life and I wasn't like given immense success as a result of that. So why should I even try going forward? I think it's the point Walter Williams, the economist, used to make, is that, if you spend all your time, and I think actually, no, not even just him, but like there's a few, like Denzel Washington, I think, has made the point as well. Like, if as like you tell black kids to spend more time working harder at maths, science, and English, and less time working hard at basketball and baseball and things which have an incredibly tiny percentage of people that will be successful in them, lo and behold, you'll have a more successful generation of black kids because they're working harder on more universally appreciable and employable values. So like, even if you don't get the success you think you are owed, working hard to be the best person you can be stands you in great stead to be successful in an area you didn't necessarily predict. And telling people that they shouldn't try at all because it's not worth it because you won't be given anything just reinforces the kind of negative behavior traits that allow you to slip into the kind of depredations that the black community unfortunately suffers from a lot at the moment. So like, again, terrible message to tell. It's quite selfish to stress the importance that it's only worth working hard if you're given success at the end of it. No, it's kind of worth working hard because the work is its own reward, right? And that's important.
It's supposed to be its own.
There's no guarantee that your hard work will lead to success.
I was just going to say the same thing.
But the more universal truth is that harder work does lead to greater success than if you didn't put in the effort in the first place.
It leads to a more fulfilling life because eventually you'll figure it out because you continue to work hard. If the first time you work hard and you don't succeed, you just fucking give up, you're not working hard. Because people who work hard come up against obstacles all the fucking time. And it's about having a fulfilling life. It's not about, it actually isn't about riches and stuff. It's about having a good, being spiritually satisfied with your life. Quick example, I got out of prison. I had no fucking skills. I was looking down the barrel of a pretty rough fucking life. I was given an opportunity to work and I didn't fuck it up. And I'm not going to say I loved every fucking minute of it, but I worked very hard and then I turned one job into another job. And all of a sudden I learned a skill because somebody as Ryan said, somebody liked me and said, hey, I'm going to train you from the ground up in auto parts sales. And I went, fuck yeah. And I did everything I could to do that job right. And I got good at it because of my mindset. My mindset wasn't, oh, this is just given, or I'm not going to succeed, or fuck that. No, it was like, holy shit, this is a brilliant opportunity I never thought I'd have. Let's go. And you're thinking, well, it's just auto parts. To me, it was everything. It was the fucking world to have that
on
skill.
top of that, Gary, somebody took a chance with you as
yes.
well.
Somebody was kind enough. And I wasn't gonna fuck that guy, Terry Edwards. I'll never forget him. Great man. And Scott Edwards took that flyer on me, and I was not gonna let them down, at all.
The thing is, there's a certain level you have to meet before you get given that chance. If you work hard, you will increase your chance to hit that level.
Exactly.
If you never try, you have to be really lucky to get up here. But if you worked hard, you'll hit it multiple times.
Yes.
It is always a thing. The better you are, the luckier you get.
Well, also you have to not
trying guarantees failure.
People try and, dismiss the need for hard work and effort by saying so much luck is involved with great success and it's all about opportunities. And then I think people miss out on the reality that if you are living in the current day, you are born with you are lucky to be born with such insane opportunities, more opportunities than humans have had for most of our history. Your access to information, education is insane. Utterly insane. And the opportunities you have in the modern day is more than nearly any one of the past. Like just the fact that you have the internet for information education and YouTube and other ways to be able to reach audiences and things like that is crazy. And there are unbelievable opportunities because of the accessibility in the modern days that people are lucky to have that they're not taking advantage of. And then they'll blame, I just haven't been given the right strokes of luck in my life to achieve success, when actually there's a lot of opportunities that people aren't taking advantage of.
Good thing our ancestors didn't have that attitude, because 150 years ago, we were riding around a horse and carriage, fucking churning butter and dying of tuberculosis at fucking 20. So
it didn't work.
It's also because of this definition of success that we have now is so warped, right? People think that the only thing that success is if you have all the money and can afford all the things and all the stuff.
Look at all those happy rich people. Look at all those happy rich people.
The most
Odin.
depressed people in the world are the wealthiest. They are the most depressed because yes, they filled in that empty hole in their hearts with all the stuff, but guess what? That stuff can't fill that hole.
Diddy
right?
had,
you need to be able to have this.
Diddy had everything. Yeah. He had everything he wouldn't need to make another record. But no, he needed to buy lots of lube and get in trouble. Now he's fucking
amongst other things. Yes.
Yeah.
Large amounts.
That's not a happy person.
Mackie,
yeah.
Think about Anthony Mackie, right? Like we were saying, worked in the industry for 25 years. He's been an Oscar nominated and winning films. He's done this big career, and he's complaining about being given success or other people giving
and not
success
recognizing
who cares,
and not recognizing Captain America 4 and he's literally being handed a shield he shouldn't have gotten. For his race.
I think his view is twisted because of his industry. Go ahead.
Steve Rogers is Captain America in Civil War, gets the shield taken away from him by Tony Stark, and having his equipment taken away, he remains Captain America. And even though he's hunted by the government, he remains the good man that was chosen for that role because of who he was as a person, the values he embodied, the work that he put in for all of that. And then you compare him to the Sam Wilson Captain America as played by Anthony Mackie, and basically parroting the lines he's giving us here. Equivalent kind of situation in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. His response is to the government, stop calling terrorists terrorists. And also, the world would be fixed if the government just bailed everybody out a little bit more. So it's the complete opposite character and characterization, more so than even him saying this kind of shit in this interview. It's the fact that these are the values that are now being put across to define one of the biggest characters in Marvel that does more damage, because, you know, this is Captain America, this is the symbol, this is now what he stands for, from self-reliance and individual virtue and the worth of old America to government assistance will solve our problems. Please, United Nations, be nice to us. Like, that's not a good message to be sending to people. Like, that reliance on the system you think is rigged against you will not possibly save you from the system you think is rigged against you.
Exactly. The system that calls you marginalized. You're like, oh, please help me. Because you just called me marginalized, so I must be marginalized. And, and that's the mindset that the nanny state wants you in. And unfortunately, a lot of parents are still teaching, like, you know, and what Ryan said it, and he was fucking right. Ryan said it. Like
given.
When I think when we all figure out, I think at some point in our lives, we all internalize that life is not fair. It is not fair. It owes us nothing. Mm-hmm. You actually have a better mindset knowing that, like, those are the rules of the game. It ain't fucking fair. And you could actually have a better life when it's a dream to think it's fair. You're going to be treated equally for any reason whatsoever. We're humans. We have bias. And once you figure that out, it makes life a lot easier. And it's not blackpilling at all. It's just like, okay, I know how to navigate things.
It's accepting reality.
Yeah.
But it's also empowering, because if as soon as you stop externalizing your circumstances, that your circumstances of life is because of everything else outside of your control, you're giving up that ability to change your life for the better, because it's reliant on everything else. I'm, disadvantaged because of racism. I'm disadvantaged because of this.
You're giving up your power.
Exactly. You're blaming everything else. And then that is a mindset in which you are surrendering your own autonomy to be able to change your life for the better. As soon as you separate that self and say, it's all on me, right? Even if you might not be able to, reach the heights of success that you think is it, you can improve your life so much for the better. And the goal shouldn't be like massive riches or anything like that. What Odin was saying should be a satisfying life. And that is possible
pursuit of happiness
for every person on Earth. I do believe that.
And money does help. Yes,
money helps. You want it. Yeah, don't get in debt. Dudes. But you know what? You can live paycheck to paycheck, and if you're responsible, you can still. I did it for a long time. I was perfectly happy. I was like, and I understood. You know what? I understood. I'm like, I went to prison. I committed felonies. The fact that people will fucking hire me and pay me is great. I am going to accept that, not fuck it up, and just like, if this is it, this is it. This is my lot in life. And because I had that attitude, I was able to build on that. If I had the attitude like fucking society's against me and they put me away and I didn't do anything wrong, I'd be back in fucking prison or dead.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't have that introspection to where they realize that you are responsible for your own success and failure.
Everybody should go to prison for a couple years and have a lot of time for self-introspection.
Yeah, time to read.
Well, I'm not talking about just that. I mean, just in general, that's
the ability
one
to
of the
do
biggest
that,
issues with our society is that lack of self-introspection.
No, it's when, for those of us who have kids, Chrissy will have to have this talk, or Frank, eventually when they get older, and the not the sex talk, Chrissy, the life is not fair talk.
Because I've already given him the sex talk. I don't think he was listening.
You never know. It's a male, so he was listening. All right, he couldn't understand you, but he was still listening. He got it. But that's not an easy talk to have with your kid. But they need to hear it, And it's like, I'm not going to be here to bail you out all the time. I'm gonna make you figure shit out on your own. Mom's way better at that than I am, but you know how it goes. But yeah, I think it's good to have this conversation. I think it's good that he said something like maybe wildly out of context, or maybe he was just talking about like, I'm sure that's the rules in Hollywood, but not the rest of the world. Yeah. So
in that podcast, by the way, the Pivot podcast is it's a bunch of old ex-sports players. So it's Ryan Clark from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Fred Taylor. I think Channing Tatum's on there sometimes. And yeah, they're all black, and they probably have a pretty big black audience,
Anthony,
if I had to guess.
Channing Tatum's black?
Sorry.
Huh?
Not Channing.
What did he make? Did he have surgery?
Hold on.
Yeah, how many black dudes are named Channing?
Channing Fry.
Okay.
Not Channing Tatum.
No, but Anthony Mackie did say something sports wise, which is not entirely untrue, right? They're like, for all, most, for lack of a better term, most cream rises to the top. But like sometimes sports guys get looked like, who knows if the next Mickey Mantle got looked over? We don't know because of the process. And especially like in baseball, minor leagues, sometimes somebody might not perform well in minor leagues and they come and they're like a low round draft. Ryan has seen this a bunch too, and they come and fucking kill it in the majors, and it was just something clipped. That's sports. That's a specialized, like Hollywood. That's what we've always talked. Hollywood is the ultimate, or was the ultimate meritocracy, and so is sports. It is what you produce, what you have done lately. It is based completely on your fucking talent and your mindset. Right. And that's gone away. And that's why we're getting so much shit. So, you know what? He's not wrong. They have given success to a lot of people who have completely fucked it up in the last 6 years, including Captain America 4.
That's kind of the problem we've all been bitching about.
Yep. He ends that clip by going, and look at me, I'm Captain America. That's why I think it is. He realized it yesterday because he's been like, this is
like,
what's happened to my life? How did I get here? And it suddenly dawned on him. Oh, I didn't.
He's like, I'm an adult pretender trying.
No, that's not true. Like, he thinks he earned it because before he says, "No, I'm Captain America." Disparu. 20 seconds before that, he says, "I did all the classes. I did all this stuff. I've been in 2 Academy Award-winning this. I've been in this. I've been in this, and now I'm Captain America."
I still got it.
Kind of like upsets the point. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you.
That's an insult.
You're the bunch of
I know.
They still wouldn't have tapped them on the shoulder.
They picked you, retard.
I've seen you play, dipshit.
No, what he's not mixing in there is mindset. That's really important.
Yep.
Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the mindset to grind and make it through practice or research or videos on YouTube, or fucking writers write all the time. George R. R. Martin, most of it doesn't make it in their books. I mean, that's the mindset of success. Is it's not when the light's on and you're producing the work. It's all the fucking practice, research, and that goes into any job. Believe it or not, successful people, for the most part, there's always exceptions, don't just show up to work and haven't done fucking anything. Most people succeed, have to do preparation, like Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's successful coach, probably because of Tom Brady, but he also did a lot of preparation. That guy was known for his preparation and his little mind games. And then he ends up retiring with a 23-year-old girlfriend.
And you know what? If Tom Brady had never come along and like that, it probably wouldn't work. But you know what? If Tom Brady had come along to somebody else that wasn't that mindset and had the other players and everybody in line, it probably wouldn't have worked either, right?
Exactly.
Like, all you can control is what you can control. Right. And you know what? You might not be given as many life-changing opportunities as this guy or this guy. However, if you work hard, if you do the right things, if you do everything you can to prepare, you have the best chance of capitalizing on the opportunities when they come. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Exactly.
And you'll still be in a better spot from all that work you put in than if you never put in any of the work to begin with.
Yeah, even if that one fails, you tend to find that several failures gave you skills that eventually you combine into one thing that works.
I mean, I actually
or you could just wait for DEI to put you in something.
Yeah. Oh, I maybe waiting a while though.
I look at Brandon Sanderson. He wrote something like 12 novels before he was published, and I wrote the equivalent of like about 9 books before I finally got one that I felt was up to par. And my inspiration was a bit of Brandon Sanderson because he just kept doing it. He wrote one book. All right, that didn't work out. Time to write the next one.
Yes.
And he
the
didn't just
interesting
give
thing
up.
about once he got one published, they then published Elantris, which they turned down previously.
Which they had turned down previously.
Yeah.
Even one of the
Just
books
do the
that
work.
he thought was a failure also ended up getting
Not
published.
everything has to be a home run. That mindset too. It's like you can. Sorry to use a baseball reference. You can Tony Gwynn your way through it. Just hit a lot of singles, get on base, gives you opportunities.
There were studies done where they made people, I think it was over 100 days, they made one group of people work on one pot for 100 days, and a second group of people just knock out 100 pots, and the 100 pots won, because they were just made lots of bad pots quickly and iterated, and
and they got better.
And they got better, and maybe there's a good pot.
Perfectionist ruins you.
There's a good pot in there. Okay, let's talk about Snow White.
I
Real quick.
just was reminded about the guy that invented a glue that didn't stick very well. And people were like, what are you going to use that for? It's useless. Then he made Post-it notes and became insanely rich.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Snow White
Snow White.
is coming. So a premiere was canceled in the UK in lieu of something else, but the one in Hollywood was not canceled. So I just want to make that clear. They didn't
Really?
cancel
Oh,
all
just
the
let's-
premieres.
Just remove journalists from it.
Yeah, they just made sure that nobody can interact with anyone.
So it's still happening. You just can't go to it. Or
It's
see it.
scaled back massively.
My favorite thing is that they've been putting Gal Gadot on TV and they've shipped Rachel off to Japan and Spain. It's like they've deported her
Probably
so
for
she
the
can't
best.
cause trouble.
You know, I'm wondering if
Shut up.
Rachel can go promote in Palestine and then Gal Gadot can go in Israel. I think that would be good.
The box
It's
office
like,
showdown.
dumb and ridiculous as it is, it's 100% the right decision at this
Yes.
point in time to let Rachel Zegler go to Tokyo, go to Spain, go to Europe,
No way.
and not answer questions, not actually do anything with the press, but instead sing, give a performance, whatever, and move on, and have Gal Gadot go on, Jimmy Fallon, Good Morning America, do all the typical like PR tour, because she's a professional. She's not going to say anything retarded that'll fuck up this movie more than it is. So it is finally the right decision for them to just shut this dumb bitch up. But unfortunately, it's 2 years too late.
I
mean-
T-shirt.
Do you think that's like a tipping point for Hollywood and they're finally waking up and saying she's too much of an issue to even work with at this point and she's going to get less roles?
Oh, yeah.
We have to remember that she got a flurry of castings after Steven Spielberg tapped her out of nowhere, out of complete irrelevance, when she was just on YouTube doing like singing cover songs or whatever. Steven Spielberg plucked her out of irrelevance to be in West Side Story. And a lot of people then thought, oh, look, Spielberg.
Is Anthony talking about her?
They ran to go cast her, and she got cast in a bunch of stuff right off the bat. And West Side Story was a box office flop, but received some critical acclaim. People blamed it on COVID for it failing, even though 2 weeks later, Spider-Man made $2 billion. But that's how she got cast in a lot of things, including Snow White. And it's not until the last 2 years or so, after she'd already been cast, after these things have been made, that it's now just become so cancerous surrounding
That we got to know her.
Yeah, that's it. Got to find out she's
you're right,
an entitled, insufferable
That
cow.
Spielberg magic touch can get you a lot of mileage in Hollywood. Ain't that right, Jar Jar Abrams? But eventually, you figure it out. Like, imagine how bad she has to be. Like, man, we tell her to shut up, Ryan, and she just won't. So we're going to send her to fucking Spain and Japan and just let her sing, and don't let her even talk to an assistant. She just walks right off the fucking stage after that, which is absolutely smart. It sucks for YouTubers because we're not going to get like, is this the gayest Snow White with the gayest dwarves we've ever seen on screen?
That's this article,
And I
right?
believe this is written by
Mark Malvin, I think it wasn't Malkin.
we can't hear anything, but
I know, I didn't want to
I'm
play
glad
it.
I can just
Ding.
see
Thank you, Garrett.
Yes.
she's a good singer.
This time it was on purpose.
She is.
She's a good singer.
She sounds like a Disney
which is why
singer that they
she'll probably
grow.
do great if she continues on in theater, like she's probably going to do.
Oh, but real quick, back to Electric State. How did you like that Disney created all the robots? That it was Walt Disney who created all the fucking robots.
That was actually yes. I
Yeah,
did see that
I forgot
too.
to mention
For, like
that.
greeting people at Disney World and
Yeah.
shit. But go back to that Variety article. Click on Mark Malkin.
So, just on the comment you made, Ryan, about Spielberg's tapping Zegler on the shoulder, it's related to the previous conversation about Anthony Mackie, right? Where people might say that's just luck and that's being given to her. Still, she wouldn't have been noticed if she didn't actually put in work and putting out those TikToks and videos or whatever.
Well, and guess what, Shad? She has not capitalized on that opportunity.
No,
She's
she
ruined
hasn't.
it. It's going to significantly harm her in the future, right?
Absolutely.
Mark Malkin, this is why I wanted to do it. He is the guy who's writing this article about Hollywood press and red carpet people not being allowed. He is the guy who goes and asks, is this the gayest Snow White ever? Like, this is him. And it's ironic because if you go back to the article, And you scroll down a little bit to the video that's inlaid here, just a touch. Right there. He is the guy who is asking the questions that resulted in all the Rachel Zegler backlash.
Oh my God.
I'm kind of liking him now.
So-
it feels like he's purposely baiting them.
He absolutely no. This guy is an old fucking pro in Hollywood. He's absolutely doing that 100%. And it's behind the veneer of this jolly gay guy, happy jolly. Oh, is this just to say the stupidest thing ever you could for my magazine, please? You know?
And that is Rachel Zegler's kryptonite. If you go on other interviews, the really camp interviewers are the ones where she just kind of melts in front of him and will say anything to him because it's like, oh, you're my best friend.
He's
can
good.
Trust you.
The dude is a pro. I have
like
massive respect for him.
It's like an internal mole that's working for us. That's making them think that he's on their side, but it's just feeding us.
There were
all
two
this
big
gold.
viral ones that went off, and it was that clip where he asks her, "What does it mean? What does a modernized version of Snow White mean?" Because they'd mentioned it on stage, and that's when she goes, "Well, it's not 1937 anymore, and it's not going to be a love story, and she's not going to be saved by the prince." Jumps in. That was that one. The other one was from Extra, I think, which was the weird clip that also went mega viral.
Yeah, and they were like encouraging her during, because when she goes, well, he stalks her, they're like, yeah. They know full well she's stepping at it. They're like, please don't shut up, keep going. That's why I think in that article,
I made videos about what they said on the red carpet then, like right after it happened at D23, which was like November or December of 2022. It wasn't until like June of 23
was the strike.
After those first set photos came out that then people went back and they realized what she said about it, and they're like, holy shit, that's when it went fucking nuclear. Because then people like put two and two together. By the way, those people are not the dwarves. They were never supposed to be the dwarves. They're a group of people called the Bandits, those Portland barista looking motherfuckers who are still in the movie, which I've been trying to say for 2 years. The dwarves were always supposed to be CGI. It was never something that they reshot it and changed them. Those people are still in the movie. They're called the Bandits. They're like Jonathan's group of people, and the dwarves are like Snow White's group of people.
But if they had all of that time and they knew they were doing CGI dwarves, then why do they look so fucking horrible? I mean, they look terrifying, the dwarves. Could they not have fixed that at some point?
They should have used real midgets.
They should have hired comics.
Well, see, they were gonna.
That's a horrible stereotype, Chrissy.
They were gonna, and then Peter Dinklage came out and kicked the ladder out from behind him and said, "No, we shouldn't have dwarves playing dwarves." And now all the dwarves are fucking pissed. Rightly so, by the way. Fuck him. That's as they pointed out, that's seven roles that they got turned down for now.
Yes.
And now they're going to have to be in some
that he won't have in the industry.
Time Bandits.
Now they're going to have to work in porn. So, it's all Peter Dinklage's fault.
That's their only career paths. That porn and midget wrestling. Those are the only things they can do.
Dwarf tossing.
Disparu referenced a hilarious clip of a small person comedian talking about the word midget, and is like, the midget please.
Yeah, it's like it's the N word for small people.
It's our word.
Please.
Midget please. Sorry, that was hilarious.
Damn it, I can't remember now. Ryan, I was looking. I was like, was Mark the guy who asked that dude from the Eternals who said like, this movie's gonna save lives? I can't remember if it was him or not who asked that question. If it was, then he is a genius.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either, and I was looking it up.
Well, I know he was the guy interviewing all the cast from Agatha, asking it, talking about how it's so gay.
Absolutely.
That's why I think, though, they've started going, oh, well, actually, it's been cancelled because of the controversies between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, like, in between, because they're arguing about a war. They're trying to go, the journalist didn't cause this. It wasn't me causing the questions. It was actually because of this thing over in a foreign nation over here.
Right. Well,
So
I think Agatha was an... Oh, sorry, go on, Platoon.
Oh, because it wasn't the excuse given for cancelling the UK premiere that they feared an anti-woke, like, backlash, which was just... fucking hilarious. I said this on Open Bar, like, when that story broke a week or so. Like, I was planning on leading my army of skinhead alt-right people to, riot against the Snow White press conference, and they wisely cancelled it. As though that's the reason, rather than, oh shit, we can't trust Rachel Zegler not to be anti-Semitic again. So, let's just keep her away from the journalists. That seems slightly more plausible than some right-wing riot against Snow White.
It's also like the Daily Mail, and I assume what the context of what that means is, hey, they didn't want, in the same way that they're doing the Hollywood thing, they didn't want people asking questions. They didn't want anybody getting sound clips. They didn't want to give the anti-woke crowd any ammunition to shit on the movie. That's what I think probably is the reasoning for it.
It might be.
It does sound like they expected something like that, is the way it's framed. In
they didn't want clips running all fucking red carpet clips well, I mean, they're still going to be there, introing all of our videos and all over TikTok. And yeah, it's far more likely that the right-wing contingent will protest a fucking Snow White movie over some machete wielding guys there, but who attack Taylor Swift fucking schools. But
yeah, I was going to say that Rachel Zegler probably has a lot of fans in London.
Well, it was announced that she will be doing some kind of musical over here. That's her next gig. The London Palladium. So
she's doing Evita.
That's going to be karma. Just living in London is punishment.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. There you go. Yeah, that's probably good for her. If Madonna can do it, she can do it. Okay. All right. No.
I think that's the best spot for her. Like, honestly,
yes.
I think she gives off like theater kid vibes.
She is theater kid. She's the
and you look at the roles that she has had, despite the little A24 thing. It's been West Side Story singing, Hunger Birds, Ballad of Songbird and Snake, which she was singing a ton in that, in Snow White. And then the one offshoot would be like Shazam. I just think that's what she's probably going to want to do anyway. And probably best suited for her. Not as much backlash there on the theater.
Not as
probably
much.
The best place for her going forward.
Well, we don't have to see her as often then as well.
No, we don't. Real quick. Lilo and Stitch.
Don't cry for me, Palestina.
Oh, that's good.
Real quick, Lilo and Stitch had a trailer. We're not going to watch it, but a lot of people liked it.
I actually liked it. I thought it was
It's fine. Yeah, I watched. That's one movie I actually did see with my kids, and we liked it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So it's very well received. But as Ryan talked about on Geeks and Gamers Daily today, a couple of years ago, there was a little controversy about the casting, and this relates to Captain America 4, Snape. Just as a recent example.
Listen, that's what we've been told, right? Is that representation is a good thing. It doesn't matter how the character is depicted in the source material, whether it's an animated movie, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a novel. None of those things matter. They find the best person for the role, and if it's more representation, then that's even a better thing. And if you complain about a fictional character's skin color, well, you're just a fucking bigot and a fucking racist. That's what this group of people have been complaining about and saying about us for years and years and years. Well, now when it comes to Moana, and they cast these two girls for Moana to play Nani and Lilo, and they're just not brown enough. It doesn't matter that they're Hawaiian, that they're raised Hawaiian, that they're born in Hawaii. None of that matters. Specifically for the Nani actor, she happens to be half Polynesian and half white.
What do they call that again?
Wasian.
So if that's Wasian, then Quarter Black Garrett's whack.
Yo,
I like that. It all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
This is 2023.
That's whack, Garrett.
Yeah, this is from 2023. I was making videos about this 2 years ago when this first came out. And like the pictures that they're using, if you scroll down there of her, she does look very light-skinned in that one. However, you look at the movie and you look at other pictures of her, she looks darker in others. My guess is she has the type of skin where if she's not in the sun a lot, she's probably going to look pretty light. If she's in the sun a lot, she's probably going to look pretty dark, right? Some people that are like that.
Also, I think the lighting of just that picture makes the skin seem a bit brighter as well.
Yeah, but she's half Caucasian, half Polynesian.
Wasian.
Yes. And the very same people who have been telling us that
tell my son he's
doesn't
Wasian.
fucking matter in these castings. Color doesn't matter for Black Little Mermaid. Latina Snow White, that's great. It doesn't matter if the character's essentially named because of the color of her skin. None of that matters because, diversity representation. They're fucking screaming over this. They're fucking pissed that they didn't cast a dark enough Hawaiian native to portray this role.
I mean, I just find it funny. Of course, it's exposing their insane hypocrisy. But this is like only the slightest variance from the, and she's still the correct race and all that stuff, right? Or close enough. And yeah, when we see Snape cast as a full-blown, dark-skinned person, it's like, hang on, this is tiny, and they're losing their crap over it.
But my guess is they couldn't actually find like a native indigenous Hawaiian woman who wasn't 350 pounds. That's actually my guess as to why this is the case.
A lot of spam.
Look, I am all about accurate castings, right? 100%. Whether we're talking about Black Panther, whether we're talking about Snape, whether we're talking about Ariel from Little Mermaid, I am all about that, right? However, you're the very same people who have screamed that doesn't matter, color doesn't matter, until it somehow fucking does. And we're arguing what shades of brown she is. So, you were calling us racist for years for that. I guess we'd have to call you racist for thinking of it that way.
What a bunch of
It's
bigots.
not racist, Lucas. Because if white people benefit from it, then it's not racist. It's the same thing when Scarlett Johansson's cast in Ghost in the Shell, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's bad. That's shit." It's never mind the fact that it was a shit adaptation. No, that's all. Race swapping is bad. I remember as well when the Denny June films came out.
It's perfect pronunciation.
There was some kind of. I know I'm very good with French.
Yes.
There was some kind of lobby group of North African, Middle Eastern actors who said that the problem with the Dune film is that there weren't enough Middle Eastern Muslims in space. It's like, that's just insane. But apply your standards properly. Either this stuff matters, as Ryan says, or it doesn't matter.
Or it
can't
doesn't.
only matter in one direction.
It exposes what the real thing is. It's not about representation. It's about less white people.
That's what exactly. Because as I said at the end of my Snape video, if it doesn't matter, then just keep Snape white.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. So, but it does matter. And same with like the whole pronoun argument too. If it doesn't matter, then what do you care if people's pronouns aren't in their bios? If it doesn't fucking matter. All right. Before we get to soups, we got to plug the review club. So I've got a book coming out. April. It's gonna be April. So we're doing a review crew where we're offering up like early copies of like a Kindle version. I'm guessing like an ebook version. It's gonna range between. You do have to pay. Sorry, it's 99 cents to $1.99. I don't know. Have we decided on that, X-Ray Girl?
I haven't heard.
Okay. There's a link in the description, and I think there'll be a link in the chat. If this will help boost it in the review algorithm, by all means, be honest. If you just get an idea, they even suggest you don't even have to read the whole book. I would say, maybe do, maybe don't. It's up to you. But if you want to be part of that, you can sign up with the link provided. We'd greatly appreciate it, and you'll get early access to my book. Did I hit everything, X-Ray Girl?
Only requirement is you have to be.
Okay. I did.
You have to have a U.S. Amazon account and have purchased more than $50 worth of items in the last year.
I would
you have
be
to tell me
qualified.
twice.
I'd qualify. Damn it. As I'm ashamed to say,
in
but
one order.
I've ordered more than $50 from UK. I order from Amazon.co UK, all Doctor Who shit all the time. That's not in America.
I got these the backlights here from Amazon just this week.
There you go.
But unfortunately,
your bisexual lighting.
Well, unfortunately, I fucked up, and I thought they were, like everything else I was
Not
looking
gay?
at, kind of change colors, whatever it was. I accidentally ordered black lights. So
that's used for something completely different.
Was it an accident?
Yes. So like if I turned off all the other lighting, like the white stormtrooper helmet and like all this shit would just be lighting up like crazy. So I got to get that fixed.
Real quick before we get to suits, Garrett, could you pull up Gal Gadot? Hey, kind of classy lady. I like her on the red carpet. She's never said. I mean, okay, she did the fucking
the song.
Yeah.
But since then, like she just kind of keeps to herself. She's very pretty lady. She's professional.
She's professional. The vibe of that classic Hollywood actress, like that.
But that's where you got to draw the line at actress. I saw this.
Well, she's not a very good actress.
She's not a very good actress.
See, that's where you're wrong.
But she's got the look.
Yeah.
Oh, she looks great.
Yeah,
looks great. She's a 10. She's a 10, and she seems like she's relatively nice. But I remember I was even arguing with Mar. I wasn't arguing. I was just like, she wasn't that bad in Wonder Woman. She was okay. It's not like she carried the film or anything like that. But here are some of her best deliveries. I'm sorry, worst. This was going around Twitter.
Maybe best.
To fill the Nile. Kal-El, no.
Okay, can we try to have it sync with the actual sound and not be...
And everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone.
Oh,
what
God.
happened to it?
His face is our face.
She did some acting classes.
This gives me hope. I might change career. If she can do it, surely I can.
Very.
Are you a 10, Chad?
Well, we're talking over it, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Sorry.
No, because we're asking you nicely. Just tell me what it costs to get her away from me. Name a price. I'll buy the whole damn boat if I have to. Who are you? The lasso of Hastia compels you to reveal the truth.
Cinema.
Who are you? But who? Enough. I said enough. As Amazons, this is our duty. You have no idea what kind of power you're dealing with. Enough, champagne.
Does her accent kind of like throw people off?
Not really. I think it's delivery. I think the
help.
accent's fine.
It just kind of reminds you a little bit of Arnie, like in terms of the accent and the terrible delivery. I'm just still struck by the fact that we introed this clip with Gary saying she was okay in Wonder Woman. It's not like she carried the film called Wonder Woman.
Well, okay, that's what Mahler got mad at me about. I'm like, yeah, I mean, like she looked like Wonder Woman.
She looked great.
That shield shot was really good.
If you make films for men, you just cast attractive women, and they will give them a pass. This is always been Hollywood.
Okay.
I didn't even really mind. Like, you have to have the right role for her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of actors in Hollywood that are that way too. Once they go outside that, it's like I kind of just see that it's this person again. They don't really have a very big range. I don't even mind some of the deliveries for the what was that fucking movie called? The Riverboat, Death on the Nile.
Death on the
I don't even
Nile.
really fucking mind those ones because of like the way her character was supposed to be in it. But
I don't know.
Yeah,
I still
bad
think
ones
she
there.
might. This Snow White might be her best performance. We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. All right, let's get Soups. Noons has gifted 50 Nerdrotic memberships for $250. Thank you, Noons. You will get to see a Daredevil watch party. Hope maybe we can all stay awake. We'll find out. We'll find out. It's a slow burn.
The real heroes.
We're also going to do a Mobland watch party on March 30th. That looks interesting. Guy Ritchie, Pierce Brosnan, and why am I blanking on his name now? Tom Hardy and Helen Mirren. It's going to be a cool show. It's on Paramount Plus. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Mobland. Daniel Todd for Fitty. I saw the scene from Captain African American when Thunderbolt Ross turned into the Red Hulk. I guess that scene's going around. So I guess people which is most of you, who didn't see the movie saw how fucking stupid that was. My big complaint about it is the angrier he becomes, the more heat gives off. And I think they forgot about because nothing is catching fire. No one has burns.
They did show some stuff catching fire when he got close throughout. But in terms of no one has burns, I guess I don't know how many people he actually hit or touched or whatever during that time.
The cherry blossoms were fine at the end.
I had no idea he was supposed to be
everything.
burning things.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a comic reference.
I didn't either because I noticed that some of the cherry blossoms burning on. I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
about?
the cherry blossoms did burn initially until fucking Anthony Mackie's like, box office getting real low, big guy. Oh my God.
Well, there was talk that there was a load of cut stuff, wasn't there? Like the entire adamantium subplot, which was supposed to be in the movie but wasn't in the movie, was supposed to like potentially sap a lot of the energy that he was supposed to run on but didn't in the movie that we got. So there's some visual effects that sort of linger over from earlier cuts, but then the rest of it kind of doesn't anymore.
They were redoing Red Hulk stuff up to as it talked about this, the retooling they were doing up to November was the Red Hulk stuff. That's what they were retooling. So a lot of that might have been new, and that's why the CGI looked like fucking dog shit. It looked terrible. Yes. Eric Sheedlow for $51.99. Thank you very much. Hey, Larry, son of Tardo, back in action. See Chat Music 2, Tons and Roses. Son of Tardo laughs so hard, poop pants. Hard to clean. Hail the good fellowship. 199 in the chat. Lock it in. Yay. Is there a new chat music for? Is it Snow White? Is it Hollywood related? They hit us now, so I'm not playing their stuff.
Oh,
they hit you for revenue sharing, which is fair. I mean, it's all right, but if it's got to be really good, if I'm going to do that. But they're hitting people. Rollin' the Wretched, 4 parts for $100. Since we are never getting man buns or gay, I wouldn't say never. Dude, you can't rush a masterpiece, just like George R. Martin. Sorry, that's a bad example. Yeah, talk to Dan about that.
He was on Saucy Saturdays and he was on about his projects that he's getting done, and he says that's getting close.
It's getting close. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's the same fucking update.
He said he was busy doing other things, but now he's getting back to it.
He's busy being oppressed by his government. It's the rise of fascism that's kept him from finishing the song and George finishing the book. Core member has been digging through the archives, finding the covers of Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, and Starship. Oh, he's found a bunch. Performed by Gary. Be warned, we have a lot to talk about in Vegas this year. Oh, we do. It's just around the corner. Speaking of things that never deliver, that brings me to Jeremy. This will be the 3rd Vegas meetup you have yet to deliver Gay Ryan. I expect to get Gay Ryan this year. Well, just give him enough alcohol. I am also wondering if Chrissy is going to be joining us in Vegas this year.
Oh, I can't.
I am proposing an immediate tariff on all Brits and their criminals on FNQ until they take all of their royals back. I think that's fair.
It's your royal. I would gladly have our royal back, but you can keep yours. How about that?
No, you got to take. No, she's in the royal family now.
I
don't make the rules. She married in. You got to take her back now.
She shouldn't have been allowed to
she
marry
married
in.
into your family.
That's neither here nor there. You got to take her.
We don't have royals.
She rescinded all of her royal things and came back here. So.
Fuck you guys for James Corden. I'm never gonna let
I
that
agree with that.
Meghan Markle, she can't come back. I mean, how is she going to do a cooking show in England? Like, that's not going to work. It's just Meghan Markle on the podcast doing beans on toast and Yorkshire pudding.
You see all the memes on?
The worse than what she's doing now somehow. She's making British food.
What was
me and Disparu got in like a fucking 20-minute argument when he was here in America. Granted, he was really hammered at the time, but he was just like screaming and crying because, why do you Americans like taste in things? Why can't you flavor it?
Why isn't all your food boiled and bland?
High fructose corn syrup in everything. Your Coke is crap because you don't put sugar in it. High fructose corn syrup tastes worse.
That's not what this is about. No, I
don't know what it was about.
I ordered mac and cheese, like a 5-cheese mac and cheese with like fried buffalo chicken like chunks in it. And you were like, why do you need all that? Why do you need all that? And yes, the point is, we're not all poor fucks like all you in the UK. We have excess of everything. We're eating to enjoy ourselves. Not like
you put so many ingredients in it, it just becomes
beans
random
on
slop.
Fucking soggy ass bread. And you call it a fucking delicacy.
Well, no one calls beans on toast a delicacy. It was a poor man's food. But I do agree with the beans on toast. It does make the toast soggy. It makes the toast worse. I'm not going to argue the beans on toast.
Fucking disgusting.
Hang on, beans on toast is great.
No, and your beans are different than ours.
What's going on?
Our canned beans have a little seasoning, especially the barbecue baked beans. Your beans on toast is like fucking beans and ketchup.
Seasoning to everything. Like without the seasoning, you're like, oh, these ingredients are awful. Yeah, ours aren't.
No, they're awful. You just don't have any seasoning. You're just trained for that.
I'm not going to take lectures from food.
I've been there. I've been to your country, and you know what? I got a bunch of shit. I got one of your breakfasts.
Pineapple and hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Goddamn right. I put Tabasco sauce on my fucking British breakfast, and I improved it like most Americans do. Okay, there you go. America first, motherfucker. Little Platoon is just, I can see him shaking his head. You know what I appreciate? His cigarette never burns out. That's a good cigarette right there.
Takes talent.
Yes, I've solved the secret of the eternal cigarette. It's never actually puffing on it.
There you go.
Or lighting it. There you go. Can't move that arm, sadly.
I am proposing an immediate. Oh, I already read that part. We don't have royals in this country, so Brits should be tariffed from FNQ until they take Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. You can hire Az back. No, you can keep him too. Today's read is
You get Rosie O'Donnell over there.
she's in
Well, she was
Ireland.
Ireland.
Poor Ireland kind of caught a stray because I think Rosie O'Donnell is revenge for James Corden. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Thought we were allies.
Ireland's got
James
its own.
Corden came over here and just started bitching that he didn't get paid the same amount of money. It's like, you should have known that.
No.
Obviously, you get paid more.
You know what's crazy, Disparu, is I didn't hate him in the Doctor Who episode. I like Craig. I thought that was pretty cool. And now I hate him. Oh well.
He used to do okay sitcoms-ish before he left. And then ever since he went over there, his all talk show was always awful. And since he's come back, I think the government are now paying him to build a studio or something. It's wild.
That fuck went out and blocked traffic for some musical thing for his show in
Was he
LA.
just crossing the road.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Regularly.
Yeah, it was just because he was too
Fat.
fucking fat.
He just
Yeah.
couldn't move.
So today's read is, I guess it's Job. I'm going to say Job.
Yes.
Job
Not
330.
Job.
Correct. Not
Job.
Job.
Not
Yes.
Job.
Job 330.
Job.
But it could be job.
Could be.
And one more thing.
121. The Brit gives and the Brit needs to take it away. Hail FAQ, Fellowship, Chat, Mods, Little Thor, and not anymore. We don't claim her. And RIP Pizza Time. I hope X-Ray is still hugging Frost Beaver. See you all in Vegas. See you in Vegas, brother. Until next time. So long, gay boys. I just watched that. The director's cut. I'm getting like slowly in the mood for Vegas, so I've got my Vegas playlist, and I always hit The Hangover. Fucking the director's cut. It's such a great movie, dude. It's such a great movie. I don't know how many people have seen it. Well, it's unrated. They call it director's cut, but it's unrated. So some judge.
Back when they did that, man, DVDs were great back in the day.
No, remember when they go to we're not going to be far from that wedding chapel. I want to see if it actually exists there. But remember when he goes to Omar or whatever, and they're like, they want to annul the marriage. There's a whole scene where he offers the guys like underage Russian fucking hookers, and he goes on and on. Yeah, it's funny as hell. Normal man for 50 Canadian pesos. I'll get it right. Can Ryan say his iconic catchphrase? Fat people have a sound.
Yeah, they do. So we were on Open Bar, I believe this got brought up because we were talking about how in this season of Daredevil, it feels like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin voice is like a little forced, maybe. It just doesn't quite sound the same. And I said I think it's because he lost weight. He doesn't have that fucking fat person sound like they're just barely escaping death every time they fucking breathe. You know exactly what I mean. Fat people, somebody calls you on the phone, you can tell immediately if it's a fucking fat person or not. Right? And that's why. It's a different voice now.
Breathing.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something.
I think I think he's definitely onto something. You can tell. We were talking about it last night. Like when you're listening to talk radio, you can tell when somebody's, and I think it is the breathing, but there's something maybe just with all the fat on the face.
They get winded for just sitting there.
Your lungs and your throat and everything. Like it sounds differently when it's going through that cavity that's under pressure the way it is. Yeah, fat people have a sound.
Yeah. A lot of people have a sound. Garrett has a sound. Quarter sound.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
You're whack.
Because you're whack.
Oh, whack.
Not Another Dime has gifted 20 Nerdrotic memberships for $100. A hell of a lot of dimes. Thank you, brother. Magnum Norris for 50. Thank you. I have an update for my colon. Thank you. Are we going to get more into this? After KK was forcibly removed, there was lingering obstruction. It says colon. It says
This is the
colon.
guy who was like, I have some sad news. I was diagnosed with colon cancer.
Yes.
And then went on to say Kathleen Kennedy something
Yeah.
or other.
So I have an update for my colon. After Kathleen Kennedy was forcibly removed, there was a lingering obstruction. The doctors called it a Filoni. I was advised to eat a bowl of spicy chili and blow it into orbit. Okay, thank you. Spicy chili's good. Disparu would the UK mind cannot conceive spicy chili. Okay, you would go, there's too many spices, there's too many hot sauce.
Spice isn't a flavor. Like, just being hot, I just like, well, it burns.
It is a
It's burning
flavor.
It is a
I'm
flavor,
sorry
though.
you were born flavor deficient because you're from the UK.
Because like, your taste buds are more sensitive. Like, if you don't need hot sauce and everything, because you can already taste
No,
the
you
base
build up
ingredients.
to tolerance.
We don't need, we want.
We want.
how do you
There's a
build up the
difference here.
tolerance? You're
We
killing your
have so
taste
much
buds.
variety and so many fucking awesome different things and tastes and foods that we can have because we have an abundance of everything here, unlike you fucks, that we need to spice things up just to be exciting. Like, just, I need more taste. I need something. I need
I'm
something else to
sorry you
experience.
got the shit bombed out of you in World War II and your entire culture got used to war rations, okay? That's your fault, not ours.
I love the world
It's called tea and biscuits, Gary. It's called tea and biscuits.
I get it. They don't get high on their own
What's
supply. They were
happened?
controlling spice for a long time.
There you go.
Like,
True.
back in the day, British people were all about spices.
Yeah, they
the
were.
Knights would like more spices the better. And then
Went to
throw
war
it on
over
their
spices.
Didn't you get like China high on heroin just so you could get some spices?
That's
It's
why
the
you
same
found
principle.
America.
We traded
probably
heroin
fixed
and we
it.
didn't use it, and we traded spices and we didn't use them either. You don't use your own produce. It's a basic rule.
People use
That's what I was
spices
saying.
to
Your
cover
own
up
supply.
rotten meat. This is why
Literally
India
said all
and
these
everything
things.
made curry, because the meat was rotting, and so they had to cover up the rotting flavor by making it just burn. It's not meant to be for high quality.
Food is not meant to be enjoyed, it's sustenance, okay?
Just meant to be
Food, you're enjoying
consumed.
the spices. Just
I
eat the pissing spices. If that's
I
the thing.
reject that as a British standard because in the medieval period, the knights would actually, like, they were the rich ones and they would overspice their food because they thought it would actually give them, because the spice would heat up their bodies and they thought that would make them fight better on the battlefield. So before a battle, they would actually overspice their food to
Dude,
get ready
spice
for it.
does give you a
And they were
pep.
the rich ones. They
Absolutely
had
does.
abundance of resources. That's what you're saying, right, Chad?
Yeah,
Unlike
especially
the
like
poor
the expensive
fucking plebs.
pepper was hard to get a hold of, and so pepper in the medieval period was
Pepper.
a prized thing. Same with cinnamon and other things, and so the history they loved it. Then
Right,
I
they
guess,
still haven't evolved. That still is like, oh, this has pepper on it. This is perfect. That's fucking Disparu's life.
You are salt and pepper on steak because the flavor of the steak is nice enough on its own that it's not supposed to be covered in.
Did
crap
you just say
sauce.
spice isn't a flavor, though? You just said
We're not-
spice
no,
isn't a
when
flavor.
I didn't know when I said spice, I literally meant spicy as in hot.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I
but
didn't
this is
mean
what happened. I
herbs.
got fucking 5 cheese mac and cheese with buffalo chicken. Right, with like buffalo chicken poppers basically on them. And you're like, why do you need all that? Barbecue sauce and A1 and like random shit on a
He's
steak.
just making a
That's what I
random
was
bucket
eating,
of
and you got
slop
upset
with
about it.
15,000 different flavors because the one on its own isn't good enough. That's the thing. If it was quality ingredients, the flavor enough on its own.
Variety is the spice of life.
It's not variety. It's just putting a load of crap
Sometimes
into the
mixing
same
it makes
bowl.
it better, man.
I'm sorry, I've
That
been
makes it the
to.
same.
I went to Britain, and I have to say, the food that you'll get, the places, local pub and the carveries and stuff like that, it's kind of bland. I'm just saying.
Yeah, kind of.
Some of it
Because
was
you
good.
destroyed your taste buds.
No.
If you were a
It was,
civilized man,
dude.
you'd be able to taste
Okay,
the flavor.
Shad. It was better than 20 years ago. Like the food has improved there. Like
Not that taco we had.
but
We had
no,
we- we
dude,
had
that was
taco-
not a
street
taco. That was
That's
fish and
what
chips and a
Taste
tortilla.
buds, Right, Disparu says
Don't eat tortillas and
Tortilla.
The truth is, your taste buds are in starvation mode. You're like, and anytime you get a little bit of anything, you're like, oh my god, it's so fucking filling. It just tastes so good. I don't need anything else.
That's
I'll
salt,
just eat
dude.
this fucking camel fat. That's what you're like.
Oh,
So
you know,
I did love the abundance of pubs that were all restaurants, and you go in there and get a meal. That was
Oh, there used to be way more. There's actually pubs have been massive decline over in this country. I think we've lost way over half. I think it's the majority of them have gone at this point. There used to be pubs on every corner, kind of thing.
Was
the
COVID a big
pub
part of
I went
that?
to-
I was say
They're all
COVID or something
chains
else.
now.
the one I went to up north was really good, really good. when we were visiting Az for our wedding. Andy CR on the Streamlabs side for $69.69. Exposed has been all over the internet.
But you admitted it.
Az couldn't keep his big mouth shut. Damn it. Happy Pie Day and Happy Pie Day. Is it Pie Day? Okay.
It is Pie Day.
3.14.
3.14.
Was it hair pie or like regular
It's
pie?
Like math pie.
The
Math
the
pie? Oh,
my favorite pie.
I wasn't even in that realm.
Really? Because just the edible pie sounds better. Like it's a pie day for that.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about math.
Beauty school dropout.
Go back to high school. And to Jeremy and Chrissy, happy cream pie day. X-Ray Girl can elaborate on both, I
Thank
guess.
you.
Excuse me. What?
Hey,
Every day could be
I just
cream
read
pie
'em.
day with the right attitude.
yeah. I hear that Captain Undercover Brother has bombed harder than Hezbollah pager. And Snow, Dirt, and the 7. What the fuck are those things? Well, 2. That makes me happy. And he continues here. Jay has been having a rough time lately. What, did one person in the chat criticize him? And he goes, everybody's criticizing me.
You have to use toilet paper.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, dude, don't go out on the internet and say you don't wipe your ass. I mean, you want some unsolicited advice on content creation, don't do that, okay? And then expect people not to respond. I mean,
Ryan's reaction was hilarious.
oh man, everybody's after me now, man.
I didn't even go after him. I was just like, I know what's gonna happen now. Don't think you should have said that, but okay.
Hey Jay, it's not Christmas anymore, bro.
There's our baker.
Hey, what do you do when you're in public at a bathroom that doesn't have a shower? What do you do?
Oh, that's a worry.
Oh, he's about to answer.
He's got.
He's got.
Nope.
Nope.
Dang.
This is why all his cats are leaving. They're getting out of the smell.
Yeah.
It just says open the door.
Yeah, he's not killing the cats. They want to escape.
Yeah. Finally, fresh air.
Freedom.
Yeah. Sorry, my dogs came in there and they look at me like, feed me. It's like, no, you got to wait another hour. Sorry. No.
Hi, dinner.
Oh, now I acknowledge them and it went. Yeah.
It's about their dog.
Oh, yeah, X-Ray Girl just called you dinner. You better get out of here.
Save yourself.
No little dogs allowed in the office. Jay has been having a rough time. He started a jihad against toilet paper, and after the backlash, he turned heel. He was pushed into the dark side. He's now Dark Jay. I guess that happens when you tell the world you don't wipe. Hail to the eye dots. That's Geeks and Gamers. Eye dots is misspelling idiot. If you need to know, that's the reference.
Yeah, and 199 is accidentally typing that instead of 1999.
1999.
A lot of deep lore.
A lot of deep lore that Ryan absolutely loves.
Especially when you chant it at meetups and.
Off topic, but I thought it's worth reporting because Invincible season 3 finale just aired like a day or two ago.
Okay,
and it's pretty good. The season 3.
The rest of the season's been decent.
Really?
I've not seen the
It's
finale
like
yet.
season 3 better than season 2.
so it's an improvement on season 2.
An improvement on season 2.
All right, I'll watch it.
Like Amber is basically she like now that she's not a girlfriend, that solves a lot of the pain of.
She's not on
suffering through her.
screen.
She does appear, but not much. And no woke crap really that jumps out, and true to the comic book. And they do a good job, and the season ends with a bang. And so I can report on that. I quite enjoyed it.
Invincible is an idiot, though. The entire story relies on him being a complete moron.
Let me think about that. Maybe. But what I like about Invincible is that is the classic pure-hearted,
Yeah, is it?
Not in this. He's not pure-hearted in this at all.
Yeah.
He's tested in it, and that's part of the story, but he's trying to hold on to the, innocent kind of side of him. And I always enjoyed that about Invincible, and they're doing justice to it.
When the guy just went, please use this front door next time, I'm like, yeah, I'm with that guy.
Robert Kirkman's doing good. Like his fucking Walking Dead won't die Invincible's
Yeah,
doing
jeez.
good, and he's directing the Transformers comics in a pretty good direction. Doing pretty good out there. Kratos El Gratos, 2 parts for $100. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kratos. Sorry to get. It was you I was supposed to talk to on Side Scrollers, and I guess we didn't have enough time. Well, maybe I'll come back because I took calls on Side Scrollers Plus yesterday. We're excited for Vegas. We're planning a ton of stuff in addition to the meetup. Good. Horror
Nice.
Marata's wedding, shooting range with ABF. I wish I could go. Get Ranked Live Cookies Edition with Devil Karaoke Bar. Ryan's invited. Doing a little karaoke, Ryan?
Ooh.
Good day.
I'll karaoke. I always,
Didn't
the
say
last
a day.
time you karaoke'd, I was doing a video. I was recording a video. I want to go.
The She-Hulk? I think it was She-Hulk.
I was She-Hulk 2 years ago. Yeah, everybody went to karaoke. Melissa went, but I didn't go because I was reviewing She-Hulk. I
That
should've
was
went to karaoke.
oh, you talking about when I went and we did or I did
You did, yeah. It was on video.
Those fat black chicks wanted to fuck the shit
They
out
did.
of me. Man.
Wow.
They wanted that little thin white Duke right there, all up in them.
They would probably laugh when I walked up there in my fucking cargo shorts.
Yeah, they wanted to make their own wax.
Then I
Oh.
grabbed the mic and started spitting.
Pretty fly for a
Ryan.
white guy. One Piece Ramen with what's GHAL with Gal. I'll just say Gal. Nerd Shops with Iron Oxide. What's up, Iron Oxide? You give me a cool vest. I'm gonna wear it in Vegas. I'll bring it. We're doing most of the planning and coordination on the Fellowship Discord. Yes, go there, please. Keep an eye on the Vegas Meetup channel. There is, if you're interested in attending any of those events, as space may be limited. And there's the link for the Fellowship Discord, which I do not run, but they do. And that's the best part about these meetups is you guys
That's
are all
awesome.
like doing your own stuff, getting married. You know what? We bring people together, dude.
Yeah.
All the haters out there. How many of y'all are having people from the chat get married and hook up?
Interracial marriage, by the way.
Interracial
Wow.
marriage.
Baby.
Inclusive.
Put that in your article.
Yeah, and smoke it like a crack pipe. That wedding's gonna be fun.
Pipes, little platoon, you need to bounce, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I'm afraid I do. Yes, I double booked myself with a birthday thing on the other side of the village, so I now have to walk all the way over there and get very drunk.
Oh.
Well,
That's
you
good.
can get drunk on your walk over. I mean, you can kill two.
That's
birds
true.
with
I'll
one
just
stone.
I'll just swig from a bottle on my way down. No one will see.
Yeah, traveler. It's
Thanks
great.
for hanging this
bag.
long. Please subscribe to Little Platoon. A great channel. He's also officially on EFAP now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything you want to tell the fine folks about?
I just did fucking Captain America video, which is supposed to have been out like 3 weeks ago. Might be out this week, but I have been saying it for 3 weeks, so it might also be out next week or the week after that. But at some point in the future, there will be a video. That's pretty much it. But thank you again for having me.
You're welcome back anytime. Please give him a sub. Thank you, Little Platoon.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good dude right there. And yeah, I'm perfect for EFAP. Absolutely perfect. Tabletop Joe for Fitty says a little secondhand profit share for you from our dear Uncle Ford. Thanks for everything all of you do except the White Supreme Ryan. Oh, we appreciate him too. The White Supreme. He didn't call him supremacist. White Supreme. It's like a pizza. Geeking with James Hancock for 50. What's up, James?
White Supreme, please.
James is cool, by the way. He's got a channel. He reviews almost everything. Which ill-fated Netflix project has done more reputational damage to the filmmaker's career? Rebel Moon or The Electric State? That is a... Ooh.
Rebel Moon.
I think Rebel Moon.
Rebel
Because he didn't have
Moon.
anything lined up afterwards. The Russo brothers already have moved on.
Yeah. I do think, to Ryan's point, like, not everything they've made has sucked, but they have made a lot of flops that have been very expensive. And they made Endgame. So, I mean, like...
They also made Infinity War.
They also made Infinity War. They also made Civil War. They also made Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But what have you done for me lately? I think it's still a smart move for Marvel to bring them back, and they're going to spend all the money. But I would be way more worried. Like, you should be worried with Daredevil, Captain America 4, with the Russo brothers, with the Electric State. I think you should just be worried. I don't think this is a slam dunk.
Because if none of those work, then what the fuck do you have after that?
It was Variety or Deadline.
It's deader than dead at that point.
It was Variety or Deadline that said it was Robert Downey Jr. that made it contingent on him returning that they come back to direct.
Okay,
It may not have been
that's
Disney
smart.
that made the
And
decision.
because there was friction between them and Kevin Feige, and they've even taken some public shots at them, and like how they treated the Infinity Stones in Loki and like stuff like that. But like Electric State is a fart in the wind for the Russos, whereas
Rebel Moon
was like, oh, this is something that Zack Snyder was very passionate about and wanted to create. Netflix gave him a bunch of money. They wanted to do a cinematic universe, stuff like that. So I feel
Electric State's getting a game in a month or something.
If they base it on the book, cool. If they base it on the movie, well, Rebel Moon got a game, didn't it? Didn't Rebel Moon get a game? I thought it was. Yeah, I thought
maybe
it
this
was
was a
supposed
Netflix
to.
strategy.
I got a
then.
director's cut, so you know.
Well,
is it like
okay.
is it one of those games that come out on Netflix?
I think so.
Maybe.
Oh.
So to Ryan's point, and Mueller has mentioned this, it's got to be Zach at this point because one of the narratives behind the whole Snyder cut thing was you weren't respecting Zack Snyder's full vision for this project, and it's always been studio interference, which was true. I mean, it absolutely was true when it was related to his DC stuff. The studio did interfere. So this is the first time he's got no shackles. He shot it himself. He could do whatever. He wrote the fucking story. He was the cinematographer. He was in complete control, and it was utter dog shit. Like, and conceptually, I love the idea. I remember when the trailer came out. I told you, Ryan, I was like, I'm kind of looking forward to this one because this looks like Heavy Metal live action. That's what Heavy Metal Magazine live action, and it was terrible.
Well, he did the same thing with the zombie movie before. That movie was
Army of the Dead. You're right.
Great premise. Great premise. Like Las Vegas locked away with only zombies. You have to heist and get in. Like that sounds awesome. Movie unwatchable. Unwatchable.
Well, you literally couldn't see some of it. Like,
yeah, give you a headache. It was just
he got that.
He should just be a producer. That's all he should be.
Well, he should definitely not shoot his own stuff or write it. I'm fine with him direct because I think if he's guided by a script and has a better cinematographer, dude. Watchmen was making the rounds because somebody could, like, Watchmen's fucking great. Watchmen's a great movie.
Dawn of the Dead was pretty good too.
And Dawn of the Dead was good too. 300 was good too.
300.
But then he's like before Army of the Dead, he's like, I went on eBay and I got this special Sony lens that's broken.
It's got a crack in it.
It's got a crack in it. And
it's a special effect or whatever.
And he's like, okay, I know you're going into like Uber directing cinematography geek, but as a viewer, I couldn't see half the fucking everything's like fish. It was terrible. It was like watching a movie without my glasses on. Which did make it better, to be honest.
How all of us want to watch it.
Yarmouth for Fitty. Hail FNT crew. Shout out to my Latter-day brother, Shad. Thank you all for the great sword and sorcery recommendations last week. I've got Robert Duvall's The Outfit lined up for tonight. Happy Friday, and pizza's on me. I want some pizza.
I don't know. I wouldn't really recommend most of those sword and sorcery ones for Latter-day Saints. Some are not appropriate that I avoid.
Did you know my...
I know by reputation, like Deathstalker, probably not good for Latter-day Saints. Just throwing that out there.
That wasn't a limitation on the recommendations, though. We were just told sword
There's
and
a lot.
sorcery.
Yeah, we weren't like saying religious beliefs are being considered because a lot of sword and sorcery has a lot of fucking tits. A lot of tits
and stuff. Yeah,
that's why we liked it.
That's why it was popular.
That's why it was popular.
There were some good recommendations though that we did mention, like Lady Hawk is a bit of
Lady Hawk, Excalibur,
Angel. If you haven't seen it, it's a short film. It was released as like a short film in front of Empire Strikes Back, I believe, something like that. One of the visual effects artists that worked on that shot it. It's just a short little 20-minute.
Anything Ray Harryhausen. Just go down the Ray Harryhausen rabbit hole, all the Sinbad movies and Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
Like, that is the shit. Even Clash of the Titans the OG one, which is
Love that movie.
fantastic.
The better version, obviously.
The much better version. Dude,
Shouldn't have to say it, but I say it
Laurence Olivier. Right before he died. Great movie. All right. Some random guy for 50 Australian dollars. Thank you. Also, money ain't shit. Money's important. Money's kind of important.
I can't remember who it was.
I like
Someone
money.
Said,
It
money
can't
doesn't
buy
make
you
happy.
happiness, but it can definitely
Pay your bills.
make
Make life
things
easier.
Stability.
make you unhappy and like take those things out of your life a little bit. Yeah.
It buys me things that make me happy.
Dude, okay.
Vibrators.
Yeah, get
Oh. Or a nice massage.
same thing.
With the
Yeah, happy
vibrators?
ending.
Shad's blushing now.
Shad's like always regretting his choice to make appearances on this show. He's like, man, I hope this latter day turns into end of day pretty quickly here.
Right.
Well, tomorrow is a latter day. As
The
they
Church
say.
of the End of Day Saints. End of Day Saints.
That sounds like
That sounds like
Warhammer.
fun.
Yeah. That sounds kind of awesome, really.
I'm
That'll
ready.
do.
Can you just come back, pleise?
I love you guys.
We love you too, you prude. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Dude,
we're not pushing for the same thing.
You-
But I'm
you-
like, we need to bring masculinity back. Part of that is bringing hot women back. And he's like, no, we must keep them covered up.
no.
Well, funny. No, I'm actually far more liberal in that sense amongst Latter-day Saints. And, yeah, hear my,
women were
takes-
created by God. All right.
Indeed.
They are beautiful.
Boobs are the creation of
And he
God,
created
and they are
them
perfect.
naked. They only put on clothes afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I actually kind of talk a little bit about that in my
that's
video
true.
discussing, that from a Christian perspective. Because there is some, anyway, I won't go into it.
Yeah, that was a good video, man.
A time
But
before
one of
lust.
the first
which is why
stories
I
from the
was-
Bible is a woman failing to take accountability.
Oh, that was good. That's good. Neil Oakley has gifted 20 Nerdrotic memberships for $100. Thank you, Neil. I remember Oakley's. Gonna go Gen X on you. Oakley's, not the fucking glasses, the grips. The Oakley grips on your BMX bike.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Those.
Oakley 1s, Oakley 2s.
Back in the
Oakley 3s
2000s.
were the one. The Oakley 3s were the best because they formed, they were a little thicker and they formed around your hand. And then snake belly tires.
That's the same brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oakley?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same
they
brand.
do like BMX stuff and
Yeah. And they made
dirt bike
glasses.
stuff.
And that's the sunglasses became their best.
Yeah.
seller. But yeah. Oakley's. Raider 03. What was that? Whoa.
Oh, you hit the little widget on your start
Fuck that
menu.
widget.
Always get
It frightened and confused me. Raider 03 has donated $63.47. Thank you, brother. Doesn't say anything. Is that supposed to be some kind of code?
No, he always just donates in weird increments.
I love that. I I do. How are we doing on time? Do we have to get on over the Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
We have to
Probably.
get on over the Rumble. We'll get the rest on Monday on Rumble and Nerdrotic Live. I will give all of these super chats the time they deserve on the super chat square up on Monday. We're going to head over to Rumble right now. Thank you to the Modrotics. Thank you to everyone who left a super chat and donation. You help keep the lights on. We appreciate your support. Thank you, all the lurkers. Anybody else got anything else to say?
Yeah, when you go back and rewatch the stream and see that awesome intro from Meta PCs, make sure you click on the link in the description and use code Nerdrotic for a discount. Go check out Meta PCs.
I just bought one.
Ooh.
I just bought one from Meta and used the code, so go do it.
Do they,
I'm going to buy
do
another.
they make ones that you can use in Australia? Or
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to.
You mean the power like
You need
are you
a
guys on
cha-
220 or
yeah.
some shit?
yeah, we have a different voltage or something. Whatever.
But also, I'm not sure.
I bet you
that
they
many
could.
PC people ship internationally.
I don't know if they
because
ship
of
I
that.
want to
Yeah.
say there's like a switch on the back of
It's-
most power supplies where you can change it for the
Yeah, well, it
voltage.
just doesn't help that you're like on the ass end of the world. I mean, from the rest of Western civilization. So, that's your own
'Cause,
downfall.
You can at least go and look and see how awesome they are. You
Yeah.
can't actually have it.
Yeah.
That's really
if
a
they
you
can-
problem.
Well, it
you
is,
know?
it is. But I'm interested in reaching out because they seem to do good work. And The new 5090 is out, and that's good.
Talk
for AI.
to Zach.
Yeah, 5090.
5090.
Zach is an approachable dude. As Ryan said, veteran owned. They're all really nice, and they make that's the best computer I've ever owned. Period. Is a Meta PC.
And they
Really
got
good.
pre-built ones that can, ship to your door in a couple days, or you can custom build your own.
Yeah.
If you want, they'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, Ryan. All right, we will see you all next week with.
Oh my gosh, I was ready for this. Ah,
What did you think happens at the end of the show?
that's true.
Every time.
I'm ready for this.
Every day's a new day for X-Ray Girl.
I'm sorry. DEI, the best.
Yeah.
Did you say drinker?
Yes.
Okay.
The critical drinker. Snow White.
Snow White comes out. Yeah.
A very special appearance.
Wow.
And you all got to see it.
Snow White.
Better get my tickets early. Theaters are going to fill.
Everyone's gonna go.
Cannot wait. All right, bye.
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 Thank you.
See ya.
Here they come and the crowd cannot wait. Oh, hail Friday Night Lights. I apologize because I'm probably late. Oh, hail Friday Night Lights.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.